Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Big Pro Series Road to Assembly number 1. And it is time to see a 4-team double elimination today. We have some really great rosters today, and even a surprise edition with Foot Esports, with Angel Boy Knob Guesty, Snow Crystal, who have Foxy Jungle Dank, Esker Gaming with Yoshi, Ope, and Noe, and Reverso Hive EU, which is the pickup from Chill. And they have Billux, Tizu, and Lanane, who's gonna be swapping out, swapping in for one of the members who can't show up for today. So the prize pool that we have today on the docket is going to be 1,200 euros for first place, 800 euros for second, 400 euros for third, and which is going to be getting first place, is also going to be going to qualify for the next stage. So we are going to be going into our first set between Foot Esports versus Reverso Gaming. And this is the first upper bracket semifinal number 1. The map being Hard Rock Mine. We have our bands, and they're going to be Ems, Leon, Crow, Glowy, Kit, and Ali. First pick from Reverso Gaming going to be the Bo. And Bo is a very, very, very strong brawler, especially with a hypercharge right now. Getting so many shots off. You have the oppressiveness of the gadget, which the totem gadget, which allows you to charge up your super and whatnot, but it has such a wide range. On Foot Esports side, they go for the Mortis, and we know how good Guest he is on the Mortis, along with possibly Knob on the Spike. And Spike is still really good, as is Mortis, despite the fact that we had that nerf. So now the Mortis gadget of choice is the one where you teleport with bats instead of the combo spinner. Not combo spinner, the other one. Survival shovel, I believe, is the one. Reverso Gaming opting for the Chester. This is a pretty interesting pick. I wouldn't have thought that Chester would be the one here, but I guess with a hypercharge, and I guess the balance changes, Chester has become a little bit more viable, especially against that Mortis hypercharge and hypercharge. I feel like, Chester definitely has a shot. But when the Mortis gets his hypercharge, it's going to be a little bit scary to really face. Now Reverso Gaming going to go for this Bull pick here, and we know how good Bull is right now with all the buffies that he has got. He can be really great. People were concerned about the fact that obviously the supercharge rate has been nerfed in a way because you don't have the supercharge gear anymore. But Bull is still kind of coming out on top in a lot of these interactions. I've seen some insane team wipes earlier today in some of the scrims that Spook was showing us, and we have the dog coming out, the roughs for this last pick from Foot Esports. So what do you guys think about the draft in this one? Do you think Foot Esports have it, or do you think Reverso Gaming have it? I feel like I like this Foot Esports draft because of the fact that they have these wall breaks and whatnot, but it's going to really depend on whether they're going to be able to really dominate the lanes or not. We're going to go into game number 1 of this first set between Foot and Reverso Esports on Hard Rock Mine. And the initiation is by Guesty. He gets a kill on a Lanane. He goes for another one on a Tizu, and it's just easy work for him to clean them up. So far, it's a pretty stark lead for Foot Esports. 5 gems to the 0 from Reverso Gaming. Now, Lanane has put down those mines, but he's going to be dispatched by the Bo, and the Bo has done a massive job. Sorry, Lanane, I guess he has done a massive job of distracting Reverso and ensuring that they have their attention wrapped on Guesty, and that allows Foot Esports to pick up a lot more gems, especially Knob. As you can see, the number 8 over his head. He's collected those gems here by himself. Now, Angel Boy has a hypercharge of his own, could give it to Guesty, but the thing is, both the team members on either side have their hypers right now, so it doesn't make sense for him to use his hyper, at least for now. Now, Guesty getting the kill on a Lineage is huge. He gets another gem, and that's going to be countdown. Not going to pick up another one just for some surety. There's the super, the hyper one on a Tizu, gets a dispatch as well, and they are able to pick up the 10th. That allows Guesty to go in very, very aggressively. Gets 1 kill as well to sweeten the deal. That is game number 1 for Foot Esports in a very cool display, not gonna lie. We're going to see how we're going to get a response from Reverso Gaming. I feel like they could do something, but the aggressiveness of Guesty on this Mortis is a little scary and a very scary prospect to honestly go up against. We're going to go into game number 2 here. Foot took the first, and they want to close this one out really quick because once you get the momentum, it's just going to be very difficult for Foot Esports, Reverso Gaming to come back from this one. Reverso also has been merged with Hive, so they are Reverso Hive EU. Since Brosa can play, Linane is actually going to be playing in the squad, and we know what happened, I guess, recently. So it is a pretty even kill game here. 4 gems to 3. It's a little bit of reversal from the first one. Not reversal really, but it's a little bit more controlled from reversal. Kill from Tizo on an Angel Boy is going to be a pretty big knob, trying to dispatch him on the right hand side, and they're getting distracted by Guesty, who gets dispatched from Belux. So it's a 5-5 stalemate in the mid, and we just see both teams eking out, trying to get their utilities online. Some mines coming down. Angel Boy gets found out. That is unfortunate. Guesty gets his hypercharge, gets a kill on Linane as well. And with Linane being a little bit squishier, he is a little bit of a mark for Guesty to really go for. Guesty also has a hypercharge that he could go for, and he does miss his bash, which is very unfortunate. It's Clomping coming down. Tizo has a hypercharge, which is a big concern. Hypercharge coming down from Linane, and he's going to be able to blister down Angel Boy. Angel Boy dodging a lot of these shots. These mines coming down on the right-hand side. Finally, the kill on Angel Boy has been confirmed. Guesty is going to try to find something on Angel Boy with a knockback, but not able to do so. Linane was trying to get something with a knockback, not able to do so, with Guesty getting the kill at the end over there. Hypercharge with a knob, which he can use to put people back, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing. Puts down the hypercharge, puts down the super, but unfortunately, a little bit egregious there, gets found out by Belux, and the kill is confirmed by Guesty, but he's caught between a rock and a hard place, the hard place being Tizu, who picks up the gems and is out of there. Now Linane gets 1. He's able to get another on an Angel Boy, which is crazy right now, but with 10 gems, 14 gems, 10 seconds, it's looking really difficult. Knob gets taken out, Guesty's the last one alive, but 4 seconds, Guesty knows it's over. We have an equalizer right now. The next game is going to be deciding who takes the first set, and it's a pretty close matchup, all things considered. Want to see what happens here as we go into game number 3. It's a pretty close game. There were a lot more mistakes coming in from Foot Esports, and they've been a pretty cavalier squad in the recent past, especially with the pickup of Guesty. They're a little bit more aggressive, trying to figure out, I guess, really how much they can stress test the meta and even the players that they're going up against. Now, Linane getting a kill on a Guesty, which is going to be big because look at all the control that Reverso have managed to win against Foot Esports. There is that super from Bilo, and ensuring that Linane isn't on the gem carrier role makes it much more possible for Reverso to get some stuff going. And a kill has been confirmed from Angel Boy and Guesty onto Belux, which is huge. Now Kizu in a very awkward position, wall break on the left hand side. That means that, you know, Foot Esports not going to be caught blindsided as much as they were in the past. There is that super to get Tizu the knockback on a knob, but he finally gets found out. Gadget being popped by Linane, but doesn't find any value there, which is very unfortunate. Now super on the left hand side, Knob is able to push back. Belux may be able to get the kill, and a 9-1 gem mine just showcases how strong Reverso Gaming actually are when it comes to Brawl Stars right now. Hypercharge being popped by Guesty. He's able to put the bats down everywhere on the map, and he's trying to go for another. He finds 1 kill. Tizu splitting them apart, but he's neither here nor there, as this game should go to Foot Esports as they claim this game and this set against Reverso. So good stuff coming in from Foot Esports. Guesty getting the star player, and it's no surprise that he does. Consider the composition that he was going up against. You have a Bull and a Chester up against the Mortis is not the best matchup for the Mortis, right? But he was able to pick them apart, and I really enjoyed the way that Foot Esports coalesced as a team and made sure that they dispatched Reverso Gaming quite effectively. Gotta say, Guesty is so good, but Knob and Angel Boy holding the line is exactly what they needed to do. So, props, all things considered, from all sides there. Gotta say, I liked what Reverso had, but unfortunately for them, it didn't work out. We're gonna go into Super Beach, which I believe is gonna be the next map, and we're gonna go in the pick and ban phase for that very soon. I just gotta say that we do have some offers on stuff, I guess, Brawl Pass pluses and whatnot. And if you are going to be getting those, use a creator code. You don't have to use mine, you can use anybody's, but use a creator code because it's going to help out a lot of the creators in the ecosystem, because obviously, supporting them is going to be really great. So make sure you use a creator code like spend, for example. That would be awesome. Anyway, we're just going to go into set number 2. First one was taken by Foot Esports. They were really hammering down against this Verso Hive side. And despite the fact that Linane was a last minute pickup, being a replacement for Brosa, he's been a really good force keeping the influence in the team, because I feel like having a last minute addition to your team and then performing at this level is a really good sign here. We're going to go into our second set, Super Beach. The bans are in. They're going to be Shade, I can't think. Shade, Ems, Willow, Crow, Ems, and Spike. First pick from Foot Esports going to be the Leon here. We've seen how good Leon can be in this meta, and it makes sense that he's being picked up as early as he is, because there are lots of reasons why you want to pick Leon. He's a great assassin. The gadget allows you to, the lollipop wrap specifically allows you to your whole team to be a lot more aggressive. You can put back the gadget a little bit behind and you get a lot more speed. So a lot of different reasons why you want to go for the Leon. Not 100% sure about the bull pick. It is this early on to have a bull pick, but that's what they decided to go on. And they also decided to complement the bull with a Otis here. So the assassin is going to be coming in quite clutch, the fast ladder, allowing you to figure out where people are in the bushes. Also, it extends your range so you can get those assassination kills. The hypercharge allows you to stun enemies on the spot. So a lot of different reasons why you want to go Otis. The amount of damage output also is massive from Otis, right? So we have the Griff coming out for Foot Esports, and I do enjoy this Griff pick because with the super here, I think that Griff can melt down the bull quite effectively, and Chester's coming out as well. So we're seeing Chester being picked up quite highly and coveted by a lot of the teams. So it seems that the balance changes have made Chester a little bit more viable in the meta. So we see it coming out once more. And the last pick here is for Reverso Gaming. I wonder what they're going to be picking, chat. This I go for the Charlie. That's a pretty interesting pick. I can see why they want to go for the Charlie. The Cocoon ensures that the Leon is stopped in its tracks, and I mean any of the other brawlers by any means. You also can use your spiders to push back all the enemies on the other side, because every single brawler doesn't have Pierce on the enemy team. So we're gonna go into the first game of the second set between Foot Esports and Reverso Gaming. We're also live on Twitch, by the way. Anyway, Foot Esports here against Reverso. The wall break on the left-hand side enables Guesty to be a lot more aggressive. And the teamwork to ensure that they take out Linane is massive. Belux goes in for the super on a knob, gets that kill there, and it's a little bit of a detente in the mid because both teams are just trying to get their abilities online here before they make a pretty big move. But the wall break was a pretty interesting point here because they are suffering in terms of the range situation, right? But esports don't exactly have the best range against Reverso. They are facing off against Charlie and an Otis as well, but now Angel Boy is going to be putting down the gadget. They have so much value. Linane trying to find something going, but he's going to be taken out. Angel Boy is circling around here, just like a harbinger of death, all by Guesty. He gets the wall break and the goal, and that is going to be Foot Esports on top. 90 seconds left. Will Reverso be able to reply? Big super being put by Felix. He's able to get one. He's able to get the second. The third onto Guesty by Linane. And that is such a massive response coming in from Reverso within 20 seconds of the last goal. That is absolutely crazy. Hypercharge being put by Guesty. He gets one. He gets the second. Nob as well with his purple button. And that's Foot Esports knocking this one out of the park. Game number 1 for Foot. Wow, that is crazy. This is a best of 5, best of 3. So, even if Foot Esports managed to win this set, it's not over for Reverso Gaming, right? So that's something that you have to keep in mind. But that was a very explosive set. So we had, very explosive game. We had a lot of back and forth. We're going to go to game number 2 here. Wall break on the left-hand side. Now Angel Boy is going to be able to get the kill onto the bull. No, not going to be the case. Linane gets dispatched instead. Not going in for the wall break, and they try to get the goal, but a little bit mistimed on the side of Guesty. Maybe he thought that the kill was going to be confirmed, and that was a little bit unfortunate. Left-hand side, Angel Boy, very aggressive. Might be found out, but the totem is going to be there and ensure that he's out of harm's way. Super being used, and Linane might be going down. No, he doesn't go down because it doesn't come back, and Guesty gets taken out on this left-hand side, though we see Reverso in a lot of trouble, but the dispatch on a Nob is huge. There is that kill on a Tizu ball being passed on to Angel Boy, and now Angel Boy is by his lonesome. He has to keep them back, and keeping them back is exactly what he's doing right now. Super being used by Felix. He finds one along with the stun. He has a hypercharge to use as well. That is absolutely crazy. Linane going in with the spiders. Super being used by Felix. He gets the wall break, and that is going to be Reverso now with 90 seconds to spare have the lead here. Ball being moved up here, and they might be able to get the kill and a response within 10 seconds for Foot Esports. That is massively crazy. Hypercharge is available for Guesty. On the other side, Tizu has one button off his own. Guesty's still flashing that super. He's going in for the stun. He finds one. He gets a kill on a Nob. Super being used by Felix. He's able to get one. He's able to get two. That is crazy. Reverso Gaming are able to claim one game off their own. And this is a flip of the script compared to game number 1, where Foot Esports took it in that same fashion. So a lot of back and forth with this set. And I'm not sure who's going to come out on top, but it is an explosive affair. Lots of people are hoping for Reverso win, so SK has an easier match. I don't know if I agree with that. I want to see all the best matches right now. I like both of these teams here. Obviously, Foot Esports, the overwhelming favorites in this specific fixture. Reverso Gaming, not the favorites, but they're really performing. I'm a little confused about why we're going to game number 3. I'm just finding out from production what's going on. Sorry about that. Well, luckily we haven't missed any goals here, so the action's still very much online. A lot of pressure from Esports now. Felix going on a Guesty. Should be pushed back. Guesty's not going to use his super. Opts to keep it for the next set of interactions. See, this is why you should be very careful about how you use your abilities. He could have confirmed the kill, but I don't think he's deemed it necessary in that point of time. Now he doesn't use his super. He has a hypercharge, so when he does come back, that's something to reverse. So I have to keep track of Angel Boy with a sneak here. He's going in. He's able to get one. He's able to put down his turret and get alive in that situation, which is absolutely crazy. He also has a hypercharge. Wall break on the right hand side. That means that it's an easy line of sight for the goal. Hypercharge by Guess. He's able to get one. He's able to get two, and he's also going to be able to pass the ball to Angel Boy, who's going to be able to score in a minute left in the game. So that is a very good spot for Foot Esports. But the way we see this set, I wouldn't be surprised to see if Reverso are able to come back in this one, because they have been showing us that they have the possibility to be as lethal as Foot Esports. Now, ball being pushed by Belux. He gets the ball, but he is going to be taken out. Destiny with the goal, and that is going to be Foot Esports taking set number 2. Very good response from Reverso Hive EU, but Unfortunately, but esports super indomitable. It is a best of 5, best of 3, so you're still going to be seeing a reverso gaming here. It's not over till the fat lady sings, and Shooting Star is going to be the next set on the docket. So we got Hard Rock Mine, which went to Foot Esports, Super Beach, which went to Foot Esports as well, but in a much closer affair. I gotta say that was a very explosive Brawl Ball set. I was pretty happy about how things really came together between both these teams, and looking forward to seeing what we get in the next one. Shooting Star, it is a longer range map, and you're gonna get a lot more caginess, but there are lots of different options you can go for. You can go for completely long range compositions, or as we're seeing in the meta right now, assassins are a little bit more in vogue, and you can't just run with a conventional OG composition where it's like all snipers. That being said, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just a diamond permanently ranked in diamond. So hopefully I know what I'm talking about, but I mostly don't. Anyway, we might get Mandy. We are definitely going to see a lot of Leons, or maybe the Leon bands are going to be coming out. In this map, I feel like this is a very viable map to take Glowy, because you do have the ability to heal up your teammates while also ensuring that you keep the enemy team low with your shots, the scares as well, to keep them back. And obviously the heals with your gadgets also coming in quite clutch. So there are lots of reasons why you want to go Glowy on a Shooting Star. And let's see what our draft brings to the table. We have the Jean, Angelo, Leon being banned out, along with Spike, Mortis, and Glowy. So we did expect the Glowy ban. We also expected Leon to be a favored pick, but a ban makes sense. Gray's still very much open, and Pierce is coming out for Reverso Gaming, probably one of the best snipers to ever exist in Brawl Stars. And I believe that his hypercharge is still not in the game, but despite the fact, he is still being picked up quite often. So expect him to be a mainstay in competitive, at least for another month, once he gets his hypercharge, because that purple button is going to be very impressive. Now, Foot Esports have certain options that they could decide on, and one of them could be maybe going for RT. Yeah, I would also say that you could go, but if you're going to go for RT, you have to position that well with something that can actually utilize RT. Now, Foot Esports, they're going to go for Mina, and Mina's a brawler that requires a lot of discipline, a lot of low ping, and it hasn't got the HP buff that all the other brawlers got in the recent, not the most recent balance changes. So you got to play it a little bit more careful. But the rooting in place is definitely a major issue if you are Verso Gaming. Now they're going to go for Jae Young. That means they're going to get the speed. That means they're going to be getting the ability to heal up. So a lot of aggression. The gadget as well makes Jae Young a very scary option, because the lethality that he exudes in those moments is absolutely crazy. Now, Foot Esports have to respond, but before that, Reverso Gaming have to take their own pick. What we have to know is that Mortis is banned out, so that's a concern that Reverso don't have as the last pick, is they decide to go for the Crow on their side and anti-heal plus heal coming out on Foot Esports in the form of Byron. So I like this composition from Foot Esports because they have a lot of different synergies that they want to bring to the table. I also like the Reverso gaming. They have heal, they have anti-heal, they have the buffied up Crow, which is very strong, along with the Pierce as well. And with the RT on the other side, I'm very curious to see how this comes together. We're gonna go into our third set. And oh. Yeah, okay, the score is right. So we're gonna go in a third set. Foot Esports set 2 Reverso with the 0 blue star was claimed by Reverso, along with the fact that they also got the kill onto Angel Boy, which is massive. Now look at Guesty. He is getting a lot of shots off on Belux, but not too many right there. But they have got so much more control against Reverso Gaming, despite the fact that Angel Boy went down and Reverso got the blue star and were in a very opportunistic position. They kind of did squander all of that positioning, and now being in the back foot so early on is not the best proposition. So big super being used here. Linane gets a kill on Agassi. He knew that was the mark that he needed to get. Belix is very low, but the heals should be there from Linane. He decides not to go for the heals just yet. They're finally a kill from FUT Esports to get on the mark. They are still down by 3 stars, and that is something that they need to be concerned about, but not too much, as they have a lot of control. Hypercharge coming in. Tizu goes down. Linane is trying to find the kill on Angel Boy, not able to do so. Super being used by the Crow there, Tizu, but they don't get the value from that. The kill, though, has been confirmed from, I guess, Belux, but now Tizu as well goes down. So it's a 2-star game right now, favoring the side of Reverso Gaming. Gadget being used by Angel Boy to get that invincibility. Now he's going to go in with that super. Is he going to be able to connect that last shot? He's not able to do so, but Guesty picks up the slack for his team. The shots are trying to be confirmed by Belux on a Knob, but Guesty is there to keep him back. Knob is able to confirm that with a Gadget kill. That is a little disgusting coming in from Esports. They were trailing, but 20 seconds left on the clock. It's a 4-star game. It's definitely possible for them to come back here. They need to get a kill. Oh, there is another kill on the other side, though. Tizu goes down, and FUT Esports are not done with eating their dinner. Hypercharge being used by Linane. He's trying to get something on Angel Boy. Angel Boy is very low. Hypercharged by Knob. He goes down. It's a 2-star game. Angel Boy gets the kill until Linane to end their misery. Now FUT Esports are on match point. Wow, that was a little bit scary coming in for FUT Esports. I felt like Reverso Gaming might have had the plot, but they completely collapsed early on when they got they took out Angel Boy with the blue star. This time around, there was a little bit of reversal with Angel Boy actually getting his blue star, but he was over aggressive. Linane saw the opportunity, picked him off, and now the blue star with Reverso. They also have a 1-star lead. They have good control, and they shouldn't squander this positioning, because positioning is the name of the game here, and they've already done that. They've moved back so early. I feel like this was very unprompted. I don't think that they should have done that exactly, but they're the pro team. Obviously, speed is there by Linane. He's going to be pushed back a little bit. Now, Tizu is in a difficult situation. Angel Boy almost caught him out, but Tizu making sure he retreats just in time. Guesty getting the kill on Belix is going to be huge, and that is going to give a lead change, signaling to FUT Esports that they are in the lead. A kill from Tizu just adds insult to injury for Reverso Gaming, and very unfortunate spot to be in, as Angel Boy has a super in his back pocket, as is Knob. And FUT Esports definitely in the position to be here. They get one root, they get the kill on a Linane as well, and that was architected by Angel Boy, with the entirety of the team collapsing on one target. Now, Angel Boy not done with Linane, but Linane is not relenting either. There is a 10-star lead, but 35 seconds on the clock, and it is possible if they get a team wipe and some, but no, if they get a team wipe, it's possible. Guesty making sure that Belux is pushed back. And another kill by Angel Boy. That is going to make it even harder. Tizu has a super, but he doesn't have a hypercharge. He wants to get his hypercharge. 14 seconds left, and he's desperately trying, but he's getting pushed back. Hypercharge by Angel Boy. Stuff being used by Tizu regardless, and it's not going the way of Reverso Gaming, as FUT Esports 16-star lead. Linane saucing out the clown pin with a foot pin by Guesty, and that is going to be FUT Esports closing out the first fixture in a 3-0 scoreline against Reverso Gaming. They'll be progressing to the upper bracket finals, waiting for the winners of the next fixture, which is going to be Snow Crystal versus SK Gaming. So congratulations to FUT Esports for taking game number 1 in a 3-0 very, very dominant display. I felt like in Super Beach we had a little bit more of an even game, but if in Shooting Star, it just really showcased to us how dominant FUT Esports is now. We got to see Snow Crystal versus SK Gaming. FUT Esports are going to be progressing and waiting for the winner of that. The loser of Snow Crystal versus SK will be facing off against Reverso Gaming in the lower bracket. So Reverso Gaming aren't out. There is still a possibility for them to come back, but it's going to be a much harder road because they have to go down to the lower bracket now. And for the next match, like I said, Snow Crystal versus SK Gaming, we'll be back after we take a small break of about 2 to 3 minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Big Pro Series Road to. I am freezing up. But yeah, welcome to Big Pro Series 1. So we saw the first game, which was the upper bracket semifinal number 1, where Foot played off against Reverso Hive and sent them back into the lower bracket in a 3-0 scoreline. But despite it being a 3-0 scoreline, it was much closer than you would expect it to be, considering the matchups that we had. Very good plays coming in from Reverso Hive, but unfortunately, Foot Esports takes it in a 3-0 scoreline. We don't have the brackets for you just now, but we will post the brackets for you. If you are interested in the brackets, I believe that I have it pinned on the Twitch chat, or you can go to Liquipedia as well. So both of those are options for you to keep up to date with what we're having. But right now we have Snow Crystal versus SK Gaming. Snow Crystal, we have Foxy, Jungle Dank. SK Gaming, we have Yoshi, Ope, Noe, and these teams are going to be battling it out in these 5 maps: Ring of Fire, Double Swoosh, Pinhole Punt, and if required, we're going to go into Hideout and Safe Zone. Now, Snow Crystal is a team which is not going to be the favorites going into this one, but they could definitely give us a few surprises as they face off against SK Gaming right now. Now, SK Gaming did get a big surprise at the monthly finals last month, where they were taken out in a very early round by CMM, which is comprised of Zero, Dekai, Ramika, and Kello, I believe. So that was a little bit of a blow to them, but they have still been firing off on all cylinders. Their scrims are pretty good. Their third-party tournament participation has been going well as well. So it's not surprising to see them being as formidable as they are, but obviously the results aren't exactly where they want them to be. So hopefully this is good prep going into the monthly qualifiers, and obviously going into the monthly finals, which will be, I guess, in a week from now, like a little bit over a week from now. So yep. So Ring of Fire is going to be map number 1. So Ring of Fire, a hot zone map, and it is a very open map. And obviously, because of that, a lot of different options get brought out. With the recent balance changes, I've seen Lou coming out a lot more because he has a lot more staying power. The amount of damage that he can output is also pretty good comparatively before. Enough range that he can dabble with the best of them in the mid. And obviously, when you put down the ice rink, it's a huge zoning super. So that is one of the reasons why you want to go for Lou. On the other side, for a similar idea of area denial in the mid, you could go for Finks as an option as well, because the time warp is definitely a very oppressive ability to have in the map. It denies the complete area control in the mid as well. And obviously we're going to have some assassins which are going to be on the flanks on either side, which would be trying to take out, the mids off both the teams. And it's going to be a lot of problems. So you might see the Mortises coming out. The Lilies are going to be an option too. I know that not Angel Boy. I know that SK Gaming likes to also run the alley from time to time. So we're going to go into, we have the alley ban. We're going to go into our draft on Ring of Fire. And the bans are going to be Poco, Penny, Alley, Spike, Crow, and Ems. First pick going to be from Snow Crystal. And they opt for Leon. Now, we saw Leon in the last set. It didn't get as much value as we thought it would be getting. And hopefully this time around, we do see it being piloted a little bit better. SK Gaming opting for the glowy here and the Finks coming out. So I did mention the Finks and why you would want to run the Finks. I like the glowy as well because you can keep people healed up and also mark down the opposing team. You get the heals as well to keep your team up for a little bit longer. So a lot of sustain coming to the table. And obviously this super allows you to fear the enemy team and keeps them back a little bit. So if you can time your windup of your super, you could theoretically make sure that assassins don't get as much value. I like this from Snow Crystal. They're going to go for the father-son duo in the form of Leon and Bo, both the double totems. You have the totem for obviously the getting your super and whatnot. The super totem is very, very useful, and it's much longer, a much larger radius than we had before. The Leon totem isn't large, but it allows Leon to be very fast because it gets 15% movement speed buff. But it's not just Leon, it extends to the entirety of the team. And BB's coming out. They did I believe fix certain aspects of the gadget. I'm not 100% sure if it's still as good as it was in the past. It is a very, very good brawler in terms of the kit that it has. So it's not surprising that it is being picked up. And in response, we have another tank in the form of Bull. Now, Bull, super oppressive. We saw how good Reverso High VU were with that Bull in the Super Beat set in the last match. So we could see some more of that skill expression coming out by SK Gaming, obviously. I want to see how this one goes. In terms of what I'm looking at, I like the Snow Crystal composition, but I understand why SK Gaming would want to take the composition that they have here. We're going to go into game number 1 between Snow Crystal and SK, SE versus SK. Want to see who's going to be coming out on top. If you're better, I guess SK is definitely going to be one of those that you bet on. But here we go. Gadget being used by Noe to stay alive there. Yoshi using that gadget to heal up his teammates and keep people low. The problem, I guess, with the composition that SK have is that the amount of healing that Yoshi can provide isn't as much as a conventional healer, but he's doing a great job of just addressing the opposition pretty well. Now, OP going in, he gets 1 kill. There is a trade, though. Foxy getting taken down. A scare coming down onto Jungly. And how is Yoshi still alive? He has to kill on a deck. Hypercharge by Ope. He doesn't find as much value as he's looking for. Hypercharge being popped by Jungle. Now he's going to go in. He goes in on a Noe. Not able to get the kill there, which is a little bit unfortunate. Ope going up against Jungle, trying to find him in the bushes. Has a Hypercharge, which he could be using here, but places down the mines in the mid. Very good control coming in from Snow Crystal as they push back SK Gaming. And Ope getting 1 kill. He is on a tear. He's going in for the other. He gets 1 more on the deck. He has a super flashing it, decides not to use it. Going for the next engage against Foxy, most likely. They're able to juke out the home run and ensure that they don't get knocked back here. Now, once more, Ope going in. He's able to get the knockback on Fox. He gets a kill as well. Dank is very low. Gets taken out. And that is SK Gaming taking game number 1 quite comfortably. There was a little bit of a moment where I was a little worried for SK Gaming in the middle there, but they were able to really perform. I like the glowy, actually. I mean, the way it's being used by Yoshi is very good. He's using it to get the heals off. He's getting the damage off, but whenever he goes to get the damage, he does overcommit a little bit because he needs to hit those shots, and he does suffer from a little bit of a range disparity. He's going to use his gadget to heal up his teammates, and this is what you got to do. You got to body block for your teammates. You got to keep on cycling, and it's a very interesting way of playing. Ope going in, he gets 1 kill, and the heals are going to make sure that he stays alive even more. Dank is going to be taken down. Ope is still alive, but his teammate Yoshi is finally dispatched. Now Jungle's trying to get the kill here onto Noe. This is a hypercharge. There's that super. Ope goes in, but he gets taken out by Jungle, which is unfortunate. Foxy going to be taken down by Yoshi, and Yoshi marking down Dank, which is going to ensure that Dank gets taken out. There is no way Dank survives this interaction as Yoshi has complete control of the mid here now. Foxy going in. There is that scare. Yoshi making sure that he keeps him back, and that is exactly how you should be using that scare. Big super coming in from Ope. Finds the kill on Foxy. And SK are very much in control. Though, that being said, they are only up by 16%, but the control that they've rested on this map is absolutely crazy. SE have their work cut out for them if they want to come back in this game, and they're definitely trying here. Yoshi has Foxy marked up, so they know exactly where he is for a little bit here. Heals coming in, but on the other side, Ope dispatching Foxy almost immediately. Foxy is not getting a break in this set at all. Another kill under Dank, and it is just domination from SK Gaming. It seemed like it was a pretty close game in terms of the score, at least, you know, halfway through, but then SK just completely put a pin in it and took out their opposition. So we're gonna go into the next set, which is double swoosh, but I'm gonna say Ring of Fire. I'm liking what I'm seeing with SK Gaming, and if I was any team facing SK Gaming in future rounds or even so Crystal, I would be a little bit, you know, worried about how to go about taking them down, because the gameplay is very clean. The synergistic attributes being brought to the table are also very clean, which is basically emblematic of how good they are at drafting and the idea of understanding the meta. So they've done their job when it comes to meta discovery, despite the fact that we recently had some few bug fixes and balance changes and whatnot. But this is really good in terms of looking at what they're going to be bringing to the table, going to the monthly qualifiers and going to monthly finals the next week. So I'm pretty happy with how SK are shaping out right now. Snow Crystal as well. I mean, they did get rogered in this set, but I think that I want to see more of what they can do in this double swoosh set, which is coming up next. Make sure you hydrate if you haven't already. Anyway, double swoosh is the map next, and that's a lot of grass on the map, and that means you got to be careful about brawlers sneaking through. You definitely have to use a vision gear, because otherwise you're definitely going to have a difficult situation finding out where everybody is on the map. We're going to go into our draft, and the bans are going to be Allie, Amber, Mortis, Ems. Okay, so all the big scouters are removed: Ems, Sandy, and Crow. So you're not going to have the grass burn, which is going to make it annoying to find out where people are in the bush. You don't have the Ems, you don't have the Sandy, which allows actually Terra to be picked up. And Snow Crystal, understanding that, decide to go for the Terra pick. So I think this is very good, because there isn't a specific mark against Terra here, which counters out Terra for a lot of different reasons, right? So I like this Terra pick coming in from Snow Crystal. SK Gaming have the next two, and there are a lot of different ideas that they could decide to use today, but Sirius is not going to be one of them, because I believe Sirius is banned. Oh my god. Chat, did you buy the Brawl Pass Plus for the Buffy key? If you haven't, you should. Anyway, the Otis coming out from SK Gaming, followed by the Janet. Yeah, so if you don't have the M's, you don't have the Sandy, you don't have the Amber, then obviously one of the best options you could go for is the Janet. The Pierce ability makes sure that the Terror Shadows don't get as much value. Obviously, the drop the base gadget, when you place it down, allows you to scout out where people are in the bush. So on a map such as Double Swoosh, it is very, very important to run something which allows you to see where people are. Visibility is definitely a premium, so you need to figure out all your abilities that'll help you figure out where everybody is. Now, coming out for Snow Crystal is a big problem, and that is going to be Lily. I like this Lily pick. You have the sneak ability. You're not going to see the grass going away that much, so that's definitely a problem. But again, into two brawlers that can kind of counter it out is a pretty suspect option, right? Because if you think about it, Lily could go into, I guess, Otis, but it would get muted out if Otis has a super. So you have to be opportune about how you do this. Janet as well could just fly away. Snow Crystal using the Chester. So we're seeing Chester being picked a lot in the meta right now. So that is something to think about when you're drafting going forward. And Trunk coming out for SK Gaming as their last pick. And the way you run Trunk is you try to get super and then you try to keep on cycling through. I like this Trunk pick because whenever Lily dives in, you get the Trunk diving in on the other side. Though the options for Trunk to dive in aren't as good, considering that a lot of these brawlers have great burst potential, right? We're going to go into our second set, the first game of it, and SK Gaming took the first one where Snow Crystal needs to get their first set here. So let's see how this one plays out for both the teams. Why did it go from Panda's own production to now Big producing it? It's Big is producing it for both. Anyway, 2 stars, 2 gems to 1. Pretty conservative start. Dank taking a little bit too much damage. I don't know why I keep saying Dank, but Dank taking a little bit too much damage, which is not the best, as Ope gets a dispatch on a jungle. But the amount of control that SK is exerting on this map is absolutely crazy. SK is the team on red, and so Crystal is the team on blue right now. So the perspective has shifted. So Ope is going to go in on the jungle. He gets the kill there. Gets the kill onto the jungle, which is kind of crazy now. 8 gems being picked up by Noe. None from the side of Snow Crystal because they did get taken out. Jungle going in. using the super, using the gadget as well, trying to find the mark, gets 1 kill, but the gem's being picked up by Ope. Ope has 8 to his name, which is not the target that you would want with this gem count here specifically, because he has to be aggressive. That means that he's going to be a little bit more passive. 10th gem being picked up, and he still has a super to get out of harm's way. Also a hypercharge as well. Yoshi has his hypercharge, uses it, tries to find his super, not able to get his super in time to get the stun, gets 1 kill though, and that is the end of Foxy as well. Jungle is the lone person alive, and that is going to be all she wrote as SK Gaming take game number 1 in a very dominant display against their opponents in SC. This is a best of 5, best of 3. So even if SK win this, which it seems like they might considering how well first game went, but it's not over for SC is what I meant to say. The Jungle sneaking up from the right hand side. I am sure that SK Gaming is aware as Jungle decides to get rid of that control that he had. Foxy with a super, but Ope pops his gadget. Gets very aggressive. So much of area control being wrested by SK. I really like how Ope is using the bulk of his HP to ensure that Snow Crystal can't aggress as much as they want. Kills him and confirm a trade from Yoshi to Jungle. Super being popped by Foxy, but nobody with an awesome gadget to ensure that Foxy gets 0 value and doesn't take any damage. Wow, that was nice. And Dan getting the kill on a Yoshi is being pursued by Ope. Ope doesn't get the kill. Jungle gets the kill. Super on a Noe. Noe gets taken down. Oh my god, hypercharged by Jungle. He uses his gadget to get out of harm's way. Ope on the hunt, but he gets taken out. And this is gem robbery coming in from Snow Crystal. Foxy trying to get the kill on a Yoshi and should be able to. Nope, he decides not to do it. There is no reset coming in for SK Gaming. This is a very strong response from Snow Crystal. They crystallized this ambition into a win here. We are equalized in the game score. The next game is going to decide who wins this set here. If SK is going to go up 2-1, 2-0, or if it's going to be equalized at 1 apiece between these two sides. We're going to go into game number 3. Hope you're going in on a Jungle, but the kill is with Jungle just because of a little help from Denk. But so much of control still on the side of Snow Crystal, and they're getting, sorry, on the side of SK, and they're getting Snow Crystal pushed back, super being used by Ope. 1 kill on a Foxy, and he's out of there. He has his next super, and that is going to be a wave after wave of aggression from Ope, making sure that Snow Crystal keep reliving their worst nightmares, which is a little Trunk. Super from Ope onto Ope, pushes him back. The kill from Ope on a Jungle is massive. Now Ope also has the hypercharge, which he did in the last game, didn't have to use it. 7 gems to 3 is the scoreline. SK in a very dominant position. Big hypercharge being used by Ope. He finds 1. He's trying to find the second. He does find the second. Denk goes down. Well, Ope with a team wipe with this is purple button, and this is so dominant from SK Gaming. We did see a reversal the last time around, and a Jungle going in. He has a hypercharge, but Ope knows exactly where he's going to be. Jungle uses his hypercharge, but doesn't find the right mark, and 2 seconds left, and it is over as SK Gaming confirm this set and extend their lead to 2-0 against Snow Crystal. Wow. I just gotta say, I really like the way Noe was played that Janet, because there were moments where he might have gone down, but he used his gadgets to get out of difficult positions. I thought the drop the base gadget might be used, but he decided to use the other one to the backstage pass to get out of harm's way. So in case like an opponent jumped onto you, I guess that's like another way of ensuring that you get out of situations. But a huge component of the Janet kit is removed from the situation, right? You can't scout out where people are in the bushes. So despite that fact, they played really well. And I would say despite the fact, but obviously that was exactly what they wanted. That was in their game plan. So I like how they also ensured that Ope went in the best times of possible. Whenever he had his HP up, he had his super, and he just kept cycling in. Whenever he got a super and he was a bit low, he decided to either disengage or die because he'd respawn with a super and, you know, keep on bringing the pain one after the other. There's cycles of oppression, as I said. So we're gonna go next into Pinhole Punt. SK Gaming up 2-0 against their opponent Snow Crystal, and Snow Crystal are trying, but right now SK Gaming seem to be a little bit more dominant in terms of the display. We're gonna go into Pinhole Punt, which is gonna be the next set. So lots of grass, lots of unbreakable walls as well, and that's gonna be dictating the meta as we go into our draft here. We have our bands: Crow M's, Glowy, Mortis, Spike, and Ruffs. First pick from SK Gaming going to be the Rat. The Mo is coming out. And that means more money, more problems for Snow Crystal, as they got to take their first 2 picks. Leon is available, but it is Pinhole Punt. So you have to change your strategies accordingly. They decide to go for the Otis. And that is a pretty decent pick because Otis has the mute, it has the stun with the hypercharge, it has insane amounts of damage it can output in a very short time. Leon's coming out, and Leon, one of the best sneaky sneaks on the map, and not going to be surprising to see the Leon at all, considering how strong and impressive he is in the meta. Really defines a lot of the meta picks because he's not that strong that he needs to be banned out at every point, but because all of the strong brawlers and most of the maps are banned out, it allows Leon to be one of the stronger options that is actually available to play on a map. So that's why you see Leon being brought out so often. SK Gaming have to take their next 2 picks here. They go for Bull. We've seen how good OP has been on the Bull today. Very strong, very impressive. Knows when to go in with his super. Just a very patient player. You can see based off just how SK Gaming play that they are very concerned about communication and about how they want to get their positioning done. So, yeah. Poco's coming out. I like this Poco pick. Poco is so good right now in the meta, especially in conjunction with a Bull. And obviously, it's going to be hard to kill the Poco, but it's going to be hard to kill any of the brawlers on the side of SK Gaming because the Poco is just going to be an insane problem. He can be behind the Bull and just move up with the Bull for whenever Bull goes for the aggression. There's going to be a little bit of a moderating influence coming out with the Meg from Snow Crystal, which is their last pick now. It's to stymie the aggression coming from SK Gaming, and obviously the fact that Meg is a 2-part brawler where if you break its if you break its mecha form, it bounces you back because of the knockback from its star power. So that might be a concern for the Bull. But let's see how this actually does play out. I like the SK Gaming composition because I feel like it synergizes really well with what they need to bring to the table. I feel like Snow Crystal really need to execute at a very high level in order to get the dividends that they want from the composition. I don't know if they've invested all the right resources. We're gonna go into our first game off the 3rd set between Snow Crystal and SK Gaming. Walking on the right hand side with Dank. Less onto Yoshi, not able to do so. Yoshi gets stunned here, and he's going to be taken out. Pops the SK pin. Make sure to buy the SK bundle in the Brawl Stars shop. Now, Ope going to be past the ball. He tries to get the goal, and the ball was passed pretty impeccably. 30-second goal coming in from SK Gaming. Just look at the amount of control that they have in the mid. Just because of the HP, just that is very crazy. Now they know that jungle's going in. Noe is very low, and that's a lot of control that Snow Crystal were managing to win in this matchup here. Now Foxy has a hypercharge, could do something against Yoshi, is going to play Ring Around the Rosie, but I feel like this interaction is going to be going the way of SK as they're completely collapsing on Dan. Gets a kill here. Dispatch as well. The ball being moved away. Foxy is going to be taking it out. So very good defensive plays from SK. Not only do they get the goal, they've stymied all of the aggression, all of the utility on the side of Snow Crystal has been used up, and they have to work from scratch here, which is a little bit unfortunate. But Yoshi having the hypercharge, something to think about. Yope as well has his own. Yoshi popping his hypercharge, going in onto Foxy here, but not going to be able to get too much out of it. Hypercharge being used by Noe. A kill, a shot from him on a jungle is going to confirm that kill here. Ball being passed on to Ope. He has a super as well, could go for it. He clears the walls here. The goals are going to be available because of all of the dispatches coming in from SK Gaming. That is going to be game number 1 for them. They are in match point against Snow Crystal, and a seemingly flawless run at SK Gaming here right now. It's possible to get a reverse sweep against SK Gaming, but it's very improbable given the circumstances and given the gameplay that we've seen so far. But anything can happen in esports, and I'm looking to see if Snow Crystal can reverse this script somehow. But SK Gaming are definitely in the driver's seat in this second game. This could be the last game of this set as well. Jungle going in. He tries to find the kill on Noe. He does find the kill on Noe, despite the fact that Noe uses super to try to get out of that horrible situation that he was presented with. Ope has a super of his own, flashing it, but I don't think he'd be using it in that situation. They want to clear the ball here. The ball control is very important. Now jungle is going to be dispatched by Ope. That's massive here. Foxy trying to find the kill onto Yoshi, not going to be able to do so. And Ope gets muted by Dank. Also dispatched. Now, jungle going into the hypercharge. He tries to find the kill on Noe. Can he find the kill? He tries, but Noe oh my god. I thought that Noe got the kill there. Unfortunate. Now it's up to Ope to hold this line 2v1. But the walls allow Ope to survive here. Try to get a little bit more positioning control. He's feeding a little bit, but that's also to get his hypercharge, which he's managed to got at this point. And jungle going in, he's able to get one. Can he get the second one? That is the question. He uses super way too late here. That was a little bit unfortunate. And big super being used by Ope. Ope using a hypercharge too. He has it. He could go for a kill on a deck, but decides to hold on to control just a little bit. This is what I meant by patience. They want to win, so they don't want to go for just the kills. It's not about farming kills. It's about getting the objective. Very aggressive turret. I mean, totem by jungle there. Hypercharge being used. Oh, double hypercharge. The ball being passed up by Dank. Oh, the ball being moved up once more. Oh, Foxy tries to clear it. Not able to do so. Lots of HP coming down the wall here. And that should be goal. A little bit of a supercharge by Ope with that trick shot. And 23 seconds left. SK seem to be in the driver's seat right now. Match point behind them. They also have a goal. It's now up to Snow Crystal to get a goal going. They had one kill. This might be the workings of a response here, but no, a kill on a jungle is all that they need. Foxy knows that the writing is on the wall. SK Gaming takes down Snow Crystal and will be facing Foot Esports in the upper bracket finals. Congratulations to SK Gaming. Commiserations to Snow Crystal, but Snow Crystal is not out of the competition yet. They will be facing off against Reverso, Hive, EU in the lower bracket semifinal. That is going to be the last fight for both Reverso and Snow Crystal. So they have to make this one count, right? Reverso, Hive, if you aren't aware, have Belux, Linane, Tizo. Linane is going to be swapping in for, I believe, Brosta. Snow Crystal have Foxy, Jungle, and Dank. But before we get into the lower bracket semifinal, we're going to take a break for about 2 minutes because my voice is a little bit hoarse and I need to recover a little bit. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Pro Series Road to Brawl Assembly number one. We have finished two matches today, and if you look at the bracket, it will tell you the story, right? Foot Esports won against Reverso Gaming in a 3-0 scoreline, which was a lot closer than the scoreline would suggest. But now we also have Snow Crystal against SK Gaming, which led to SK Gaming winning it, which we saw just before the break in a 3-0 scoreline. So we got Foot Esports versus SK Gaming and Reverso Gaming versus Snow Crystal. And I believe it is Reverso Gaming versus Snow Crystal. I am not 100% sure, but if it's not, it is going to be Foot versus SK. So just waiting on confirmation about which one it is. But if it is Snow Crystal, if it is Reverso Gaming versus Snow Crystal, the maps that we have are Layer Cake, Bridge Too Far, Bell's Rock, Open Business, and Death Cap Trap. And if it is Foot versus SK, we have, I believe, Sneaky Fields, Shooting Star, Hot Potato out in the open, Dueling Beetles. So not 100% sure which one we'll be watching first, but whichever it is, I'm going to be covering it, so it doesn't matter. I hope you guys are enjoying what we brought to you so far. I have been, because I feel like the matches are pretty contentious and very close, and that makes me happy because I do want to see some close matches, right? I don't want to see a walk because obviously that's like not as interesting. Only 4 teams competing. Yeah, so we had the qualifiers yesterday, and the qualifiers end to the point where we get 4 teams, and then afterwards, it becomes a double elimination bracket of the 4 teams that qualified. So prior to that point, it is a single elimination of all the teams, and now it becomes a double elimination. So that's how it goes. So it is lower first. So I was right. That means Layer Cake, Bridge Too Far, Bell's Rock, Open Business, and Death Cap Trap. Layer Cake is an interesting map. We haven't seen it as much in this tournament because teams get to decide which maps they want to play and ban out of the BSC maps that we have for the year in competitive. So the teams ban one map each, and then the map that they don't ban is the map that they play. So Layer Cake is going to be the one that the teams are going to be playing first. Um, it has a lot of walls. There's a lot of grass. It plays very differently compared to some of the more conventional maps that we have had. This map was introduced in 2019 or 2020, I believe. Not 100% sure about that. We're gonna go into our draft here. Bans are gonna be Mortis, Kaze, Ems, Glowy, Lumi, RT. And first pick for Snow Crystal gonna be the Leon. And Reverso Gaming have to respond. Now, Reverso Gaming, if you guys don't know, has Linane, and he's going to be replacing Brosta for today because Brosta is not available to play today. Crow coming out for Reverso Gaming. That's going to be some anti-heal. Going to stymie a lot of aggression. It makes sense that Glowy is banned on a map like this because it has enough walls where Glowy can hide behind his own teammates and heal them up, and that could be a little bit of an annoying thing. With Reverso Gaming opting for the Squeak, I like this Squeak pick. There are very clearly defined lines on the map which you have to cross, lanes rather. So the Squeak does deny you access in a lot of ways. It doesn't make it like a free walk in, so you got to be very careful about it. Let's see what Snow Crystal decide to pick up as their next 2 picks. They got to go for some aggressive options because if they don't take something aggressive, Reverso could counter it out with something aggressive of their own. But they also got to be aggressive in the right way. They can't like obviously take like a bull, for example, on this map. Maybe you can. Maybe that's possible. Do we get finals today? Yeah, this is gonna have finals for this tournament today. But the entire finals of the entire thing is not this month, I believe. So Byron and Ali coming out for Snow Crystal with a response from Reversal being the Buzz as their last pick. Now, I actually enjoy the Snow Crystal composition a little bit more. I understand why the Buzz needs to be brought in, but is it the best option in both the Ali and the Leon? I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure. We're going to go into our first set of this lower bracket semis between Reversal Gaming and Snow Crystal. Starting to be picked up by Tizone. Tizo was able to pick it up. That is crazy. So very aggressive. But I guess that's the amount of speed that you could get with a gadget. Blue Star on the side of Snow Crystal, so Reverso Gaming. I have to be careful about how they play this one. Perspective is obviously swapped now, according to the game that we have here. When you're using his invisibility to go back here and try to get the kill on a Foxy, but Foxy decides to move back at the right time. And finding out Linane, very, very interesting here, with Foxy having a super as well. So Reverso have the blue star, but this is how this map is genuinely played. I mean, you have to play it very slow. It's a little bit of a cagey match, lots of poking and feeling, and then you just gotta go. You gotta build it up. Foxy's a little aggressive there, but he's just trying to get out of harm's way. He's cycling the other side. Oh, on the other side, we have Linane as well. The kill has been confirmed on Linane. Dank was a very opportune shot, though, on Tizu, trying to find his own kill, but he gets taken out. There is a swap, though, as Jungle has the blue star, and now, once more, it is Reverso in the driver's seat. Because of that, they have the lead change here. And Linane, the back lanes here. Pops out his turret, his totem rather. Oh, kill from Tizu. Jungle caught lacking. Foxy tries to find the assassin play, but not able to do that. And with a hypercharge, he pops it here. Goes in, is able to get a lot of damage, not able to get the final kill. Oh, Tizu going in, gets one, gets the second, and that is going to be Reverso Gaming with a 7-star lead. It was going so well for Snow Crystal for so long till the alley was able to jump in and get that kill. So great spot from Reverso. He's really playing the alley to perfection. Gonna go into game number 2. Lots of cycling, and Jungle gets a kill there, but Foxy finds one onto Linane. Another kill from Tizu on a Foxy. Now Tizu getting found out by Dank, but managing to survive. 4-star lead, and Linane tries to find a kill. He does, and he's narrowly alive. But that's gonna make them give up a lot of control here. They're coming in from Jungle, but he gets jumped by Tizu instead. Foxy missing his super. Tries to get the stun, not able to do so. Finds the kill on Linane. Oh, Dank with that super finds Belux, but they are still in a deficit of 2 stars now. Super from Linane. Tries to get Jungle, dispatches him. It's a 4-star lead now. Tizu also has a super of his own. He's popped his gadget, looking quite fierce on the right-hand side. So that's something that Jungle has to keep track of if they try to go up here. Now Linane has a hypercharge. He also has a super. Tries to flash it. He gets found out by Foxy. Might be taken out. He does get taken out. Unfortunate. Now Tizu finds 1 kill, is able to get out of harm's way. Lots of heals coming in. Linane with a hypercharge to polish this one off in the first set. Dominant for Reverso Gaming as they claim this one against Snow Crystal. So I like what Snow Crystal were doing. It looked like Reverso were the more dominant team, but there were a lot of misplays, lots of errors in like the thought of how to execute the composition. So lots of things that they need to work on to make it more clean, because if they win this, they're going to be facing off against the loser of Foot versus SK Gaming. So that is something to think about. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from Reverso Hive. Snow Crystal have to pick up the slack here. There were some moments where we saw Snow Crystal seemingly challenging the dominance of Reverso Hive EU, but it didn't work out for them in that way at the end. But hopefully the bridge isn't too far. As the next set is going to be bridge too far. Oh my god. That's so cringe. Anyway, bridge too far, and 3 very, very clear lanes of how you have to go around this map. So you have to obviously take either the mid or the left or the right, and there isn't really, you know, a disconnect as to what to go about doing this. But there are certain things that you want to, you know, address, right? If you are facing off against a Chuck, you have to use a much more aggressive dive composition. So that's something to be thinking about. You could also see some allies going for some cross lane plays from time to time. We see lilies coming in from occasionally with the gadget. You're able to get across half the map and, you know, get onto the objective. The name of the game is to get onto the safe, and the more brawlers that you can get onto the safe reliably without too much of an issue are the ones which are going to be really doing well. So that means brawlers that have moderate to longish range that they can hold the lane, or even if they're in the mid of the map, not only hold the lane but also hit the objective. So that means something like, say, a Colt or a Brock, or maybe even a Mandy, for example, could be an option. Melody is another great brawler which is picked up from time to time for similar reasons as to why you would want the Lily, because you can get onto the objective and then you can cycle through it and, you know, pop those shields one after the other. The shield pops are very, very important. And we're looking at our bans here between Snow Crystal and Reverso. We have BB, Eve, Ali, Crow, Shock, and Nani. First pick from Snow Crystal going to be the Colt, with Reverso opting for the bow as their response here. I like the bow pick. It's very hard to win lane against a bow on a map such as this one, unless you have a lot more range and just in general on a map like this. But Snow Crystal are going to have a lot of explosive power because of the buffies and the hypercharge. The rework to Colt makes him a big threat on the map. He's very lethal, so you have to pick him off or at least neutralize him by peppering him and pushing him back. And I feel like both the brawlers on Reverso Academy kind of do that task a little bit. You have the fast splatter from obviously the Otis to push people back, the mutes as well to ensure that, you know, some of the more aggressive brawlers that can get on the objective can't get much done, right? Because Melody seems to be a brawler that both the teams would want to pick, but Angelo's coming out for Snow Crystal. I like this Angelo pick. Lots of, I mean, not a lot of water, but enough water where Angelo can utilize cross lane support much, can provide cross lane support much more easily. Obviously, the fact that you get the powered up shots makes Angelo a big threat, and Kaze coming out for Snow Crystal, which is a really good brawler. I understand why you want to go Kaze on a map such as this one, or for a mode such as this one as well, right? But the Otis is a little bit of a concern for me because Kaze, once he gets muted, is much more helpless compared to some of the other brawlers, right? So that is a little bit of a concern. The last pick from Reverso is there, but let's see what we can get something. I don't even know what I was saying there. Anyway, Melody's coming out. So that was something that I was mentioning at the start of the game, at the start of the draft, in fact, that Melody is something that both these teams would ideally opt for as a last pick for the objective. And now you have something that can get on the objective on both sides. It really comes down to the mid play in terms of control and whatnot. We're going to go into our second set on Bridge Too Far. The first was claimed by Reverso, who are planning on extending their lead here, but obviously Snow Crystal have to give their response. We're to go into the first game here. Jungle and Denk. On the left-hand side, Foxy trying to get on the objective, getting a lot of damage, actually. A lot of damage. Is almost able to pop the shield, and they finally get the shield pop. So great early start coming in from the side of Snow Crystal, putting Reverso on the back foot right off rip, which is kind of crazy and disgusting. Now Foxy can go on the objective, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing. Jungle misses that super. He doesn't get muted out, but still, despite the fact Tizu not able to dispatch both of them. It's a pretty big lead actually for the side of Snow Crystal, 21% here. Now Foxy trying to get the kill on a Tizu, gets him very low, but he's sufficiently far away that Jungle can't pick him off, which is a little unfortunate for Snow Crystal. I mean, in this specific situation, there is that stun on a Foxy, which is a problem. And now with that being done, Linnane can finally get on the objective, finally pepper some more damage on the safety, get the pop, and now there's actually a lead for Reverso Gaming. So it is very, very funny how things change, fortunes change a lot here. The fan coming down, and that's going to give Reverso, or rather Snow Crystal, a little bit of a breathing room. A super from Jungle also make sure that they have that leeway there. Linnane going in, he is able to put down his mines in the mid, but not able to detonate them just yet. There are those kills though, which are very important. Mines finally being detonated. Oh, he gets stun off on a Dank, and Dank goes all the way down. Oh, hypercharge from Belux, but he gets taken out by Foxy, which is super unfortunate for Snow Crystal. Now we see Tizu. They need to get a pop though, Reverso, if they want something happening. They do get the pop now. Belux is also on the objective here. Dank goes back to ensure that there isn't that much of collateral damage, but kill has been confirmed on Linnane. Now Jungle going in with the hypercharge, lots of damage being rained down. Can they get the kill? They do get the save down, and the first game going the way of Snow Crystal. Whew, that was crazy. I thought that the gadget only knocks people back. I didn't know it also stuns if they aren't on where the mines are. I don't know. Maybe that's a bug, or maybe I just hadn't read the description properly. We're gonna go into game number 2 here. Snow Crystal with a very late comeback. They had the lead at the start too, but you know, it didn't work out for them for the majority of the game. Here though, very great start already, which we saw in game 1 as well. Kills have been confirmed. Nice pinch coming in from Dank and Jungle to get that kill. Belix trying to make some inroads, but Snow Crystal playing a pretty clean game, at least up to this point. I don't think that Foxy should be going up to Tizu. I think that they need to swap lanes here, so that is definitely going to be a little bit of a problem. I don't know why Foxy's still going up there. He gets a kill onto Belix, which is massive, and a super being used. Oh, there isn't that stun from Jungle. He managed to get out of the way there. Linnane very low, trying to help with the defense, but double pops on the Snow Crystal, on the Reverso case by Snow Crystal. So much better start from Snow Crystal here. Felix has to go back to regen a little bit. The fan coming down, and more damage being rained down on this safe here. And they get the third pop. Reverso is looking really, really bad for them right now. Foxy trying to get the kill on a Belix, but Belix gets the better of him with the hypercharge being used. Dank with the jump back gets a kill on a Linnane to stymie that offensive, and it is a closer game now, but it doesn't matter as Foxy using his gadget, his fan there, trying to get a lot more damage on the objective, and the safe is whittling down just a little by little. 9% left on the safe of Reverso as they need to both defend and get damage. Hypercharges being popped all around. Foxy still going on the objective, and that is going to be set for Snow Crystal as they get these 2 games, the brace. And we're tied at 1 apiece. Beautiful stuff by both these teams. I gotta say, I didn't know that interaction with the bow gadget. I felt like it should just knock people back. I didn't know it also stuns. Maybe that's the bug that people are talking about, but it didn't work out that well for them. Bow does have the lane on lock, but it just felt like, you know, when Snow Crystal had the lanes that they wanted, then Reverso didn't really have any means to shut them down. So that's something to think about, because whenever you had the Otis going up against, I believe, the Kaze, the Otis was able to shut it down immediately. That's exactly when you should opt to swap lanes, right? So that's something that they didn't have the good communication for in the second game, but in the third game they were able to rectify that, and which is why we get the win there. We're gonna go into Bell's Rock, which is gonna be set number 3. And since both teams want to set up their own, we're back to parity. So, set number 4 is definitely on the cards. Set number 5 may or may not be, but Bell's Rock is the next map. And Bell's Rock, we haven't seen it today, but it is a map with a lot of walls. There is some grass as well, some unbreakable walls. So a lot of different compositions that you could opt for as we go into our draft. We have Leon, Tick, Jean, um, Mina, Kit, and Gray being banned out from Snow Crystal and Reverso, respectively. Looking to see what the picks are going to be here. But just looking at the bans on Bell's Rock, we're not going to have any kit shenanigans, no pulls from either side, so none of that going on. We do have throwers open, and the Rico is coming out as the first pick. I like a Rico because it is very, 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 very strong right now. It's not as strong as that I call it broken, but it is a very oppressive option, and it's like going up against a wall of those bouncy balls, right? So you really can't go wrong with a Rico early pick, unless of course you face a thrower, which seems to be what Snow Crystal would want to go as their last pick. The Brock coming out here for Snow Crystal is a pretty interesting choice. Yes, Brock has a lot of damage, but he also has a wall break in the form of its gadget and also in the form of his super RT coming out for Snow Crystal. And that should pair well with the Brock as well. You get the mark, and then you obviously complement it with the Brock super or the Brock gadget, the Fat Rocket makes your shots last, hit much faster. So you can guarantee a lot more projectiles as well. Reverso have their next 2 picks, and they'd be cognizant about the fact that Snow Crystal could counter them with a thrower as their last pick here. They could go for a Grom, they could go for Willow, maybe even a Sprout. Reverso opting for the Gus. So I really feel like a thrower should be the last option for Reverso, because on both sides you do have things that can be pulled. You have the Gene and the Gray being banned out, which makes throwers a lot more potent, right? But obviously, Snow Crystal could, bait the thrower because they already have the Brock wall break and just terraform the map where it makes it very difficult for the thrower to really operate. So early game would go for Reverso, but they decide to go for the Spike. I think that the Spike is a very strong pick. I don't think they could go wrong with that, but again, a thrower is an option here, right? You have the Brock. You have the option not to go for the wall break here. And you could pick up a thrower. If I was Snow Crystal, I would go for a thrower. Maybe a Willow, maybe a Sprout. I feel like a Sprout would definitely be a really good option. It can split the lane apart. It can remove a lot of difficult situations, and Snow Crystal decide for the Sprout, which makes sense considering what they're going up against. So I'm a little sad about Reverso. They should have been cognizant of the fact that, you know, the Sprout would have been coming out, or some thrower. I feel like this is a very good draft from Snow Crystal, at least in my eyes. And I'm not an expert. This is what I feel. How's it going, Rince? We're gonna go into game number 1 of this third set between Snow Crystal and Reverso Hive EU. So with knockout, obviously the objective is that you want your team to be the last one standing, right? And right now we're just trying to see what is going to be the opening engage, which allows for a team to get a kill. Foxy was very low, but that super, the hedge, allowed him to stay alive in that situation. It's also won them a little bit more control of the lane. You can push back a little bit, and you're going to be tagged up by Foxy here. Jungle as well. But Belux doing a pretty stellar job of keeping him back, Lenine being pressured back along with his teammate Tizu. Stymies their offensive a little bit. The right hand side, Jungle also has a Rocket Rain, decides to go for it against Belux. Not getting too much value, but pushing back Belux is definitely what they want. He probably should have committed a little bit more, but now we have that Cactus on the right hand side, which does cause a little bit of a problem. Fat Rocket coming down to get the kill on Belux as well, and now Lenine should be the next to fall. Tizu caught in a very bad situation as round number 1 goes to Snow Crystal. shots of jungle onto Linane, and that's already going to put Reverso in a disadvantageous position. He's going to the next engage. Big rocket rain coming down. The kill has been confirmed from Foxy after those 3 shots from jungle. Now Tizu, the lone man alive, but he needs a Hail Mary. He needs to pray, and I don't think that his prayers are going to be answered as the first game goes the way of Snow Crystal. They looked very, very good in the second game. As soon as they were able to dispatch Linane off of that Rico, it became a lot more obvious who was going to be winning this. Obviously, it goes without saying that in the draft itself, Snow Crystal kind of won this game, but they still have to execute this, right? So it's not going to be easy by any means. He pops his bouncy castle, gets a lot more HP. Connects a lot of the shots here. He gets tagged up by Dank, and then Foxy with another shot makes him go back, and that's gonna win a lot more control. Now Linane has to get his super, and until he gets his super, he's not going to be able to dictate the flow of the game as much as he wants. Big aggressive edge from Foxy. He's also managed to push Tizu out of that point, but it's a little too late that he can't get as much value on Linane as he'd want. He's going to be splitting Linane down the left here, and I like the way he shepherds people in. The kill under Tizu is massive. Linane, though, still might be the linchpin of their composition here. Belux getting taken out. Belux is still alive. Rocket Rain there. The hedge does connect, and as a result, Denk goes down because of Belux, and there's another kill from jungle onto Linane. That is round number 1 going the way of Snow Crystal. Reverso in a very difficult spot right now. Still perplexed that they allowed this draft to happen. Reminds me of when this exact thing happened to Crazy Raccoon in the first monthly finals after Tensai won his second title with Zeta. They made the mistake of not drafting a thrower on this map as the last. I mean, they got outdrafted because the opposing team put a thrower on the map. Anyway, here though, round in favor of Snow Crystal. They got a game as well. Now Bilu is very, very low. He might be taken out. Belux gets taken out. Ooh, that's a little unfortunate. Hypercharged super on the right hand side, making sure jungle can't get anything done. But it's again just Tizu as the lowest man in his team. This is going to be over. This is round. This is game. This is set, and Snow Crystal are now in the lead against Reverso Gaming. So we had a great start from Reverso Gaming, right? They won the first set. They also did pretty well against their opposition in the first fixture that we had. But the momentum shift really happened bridge too far when we saw those, I guess, in those pressure moments, we saw Snow Crystal really performing and holding down and just ensuring that they could get that dub there. So that was very important, and I feel like that momentum carried on into Bell's Rock. Obviously the draft was much better from the side of Snow Crystal. I don't know what Reverso were doing with that last pick there, their own last pick. The understanding that the Brock was there, and the Brock obviously means that, oh, it's a wall break, but if you take it and you have the wall break on your side, you don't have to take it, right? You can opt not to take it. So Reverso kind of got, baited into the spike pick, and then after that it was basically game over for them. So we're gonna see what happens in open business, because if Reverso don't win this set, Snow Crystal are gonna say goodbye to Reverso, and then they're gonna be waiting for the loser of the upper bracket finals, which we'll have next after this one, which is gonna be Foot Esports versus SK Gaming. Why is it so laggy? I'm not sure. Is it laggy for everybody on Twitch, or is it just me? Yeah, stream is okay. So I guess it's not laggy. I guess some people find it laggy. Maybe it's your internet. Maybe you gotta refresh the screen, the stream, because sometimes that does happen with Twitch. So that's something to think about. I'm just resting my voice. Because solo cast is a little bit difficult sometimes because you got to talk the entire time. So that's why my voice is a little bit hoarse, and it's gonna get worse as the day goes by. So missing Duncan today. My main man, Duncan. Yeah, but I believe he's coming back today. He from Helsinki, so that's gonna be interesting to see, right? Want to see what he has, what stories he has to bring. He met up with some of the creators at Helsinki, I believe. There were a lot of them: Kevu, Wasim, Moyo, Jimbo, Brocode, Mythic, Kairos. I said Wasim already, right? Yeah. I don't know if there were some other people, but I don't remember. Wreckers and somebody else. So that was pretty interesting. I'm sure that he has a lot of stories to tell, and I'm sure he learned a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to tell me, and the funny hijinks that he was up to in Finland. That would be pretty cool. But open business is going to be the next map, and despite its name, it's not as open. There are 4 clearly defined walls, which are on the perimeter of the middle hot zone, and those walls also have a little bit of grass. So that does dictate how you have to play the game. You opt for wall breaks, or you decide to keep the walls, and you're gonna have a game of chicken once more, where you might see people being like baited in draft, trying to pick something and then getting caught out in a horrible situation as a result. We're gonna go into our draft here, and M's Crow Spike, Glowy, Crow Spike are the bans. Oh my god, we got double Crow, double Spike ban. So many more brawlers are going to be available here. Open business. We have possibility of Bull, possibility of Leon. We could have Lou. We could have Finks. We could have so many different things that could be brought out as well. Do you have any opinions on the new meta? I haven't played the new meta enough to give you all the opinions, but I feel like if you have global bans, most of the metas that we're going to have are good, because you remove 4 extra brawlers from contention. So I want to see global bans coming out. Then I can give you more accurate description of the meta. But I haven't played enough to tell you. But Finks is coming out for Snow Crystal. I like this pick here. The time warp is going to deny the mid control a lot. But in response, I think Reverso could obviously take a Poco as well, because a Poco and a Finks is just it's just terrible for the Finks. You could also take any of the other Pierce brawlers that have a spread damage. So Poco could be good. Could also probably not Sandy as much, but you could go for Janet. But Janet is kind of has fallen off, so I wouldn't go for that. We are gonna see a Nita coming out. Nita has had buffies, so it is stronger than before. But I still feel like it's not good enough in a lot of maps. I could, probably hold my tongue a little bit about it. I don't know. But I still don't know if Nita is the best pick. I understand the vision though. The walls allow you to wall peek a lot. Once you get your super and your hypercharge, you can push back the enemies a lot. And obviously, if we were thinking about the original metas, right, you wouldn't think about drafting Bull into Poco, but now Bull is it's quite strong. It has all its buffies. We also get the Poco. So we had the Poco along with the Bull and the Leon. It's a very, very strong composition from Reverso. They have already countered out the Finks with the Poco there. The Nita is good, but the amount of aggression you're getting with the Leon and the Bull, I don't know if that is the best thing that they could do. Something that they could opt for it. That is not at all what I was thinking. I don't think Snow Crystal have composition here at all. I don't think that they are going to be able to dispatch most of the people on the other side. What do you guys think, chat? Do you think that Snow Crystal has comp, or do you think Reverso have comp? I feel like Reverso have composition. The Cordelius is a nice brawler, right? But into the composition that we have here, I don't think it's going to do that much. I would have taken Shelly as a last pick here just because of the Bull, or maybe you could go for the Bow as well. But we're gonna go into our first game off the fourth set between Snow Crystal and Reverso, where Snow Crystal took the last 2 sets. So they have a lot of momentum on their side. Linnea placing down the totem on the back lines, and you can see just the amount of speed that Linnea has in that. It also extends to his teammates as well. And Poco, ooh, the kill from Tizu with the screeching solo. DPS Poco. And finally, the super from Denk is available, but Denk really can't do much into the Poco there, all the members of Reverso are still very much alive. It's going to be hard to root them out of this position. Just like Foxy is not going to get any value. I don't think that Foxy's going to get super. It gets outranged, and if it gets too close to the Bull, it's basically game over there. Bull is going to be taken out, and now we might see a little bit of a change here. A lot of control from Snow Crystal versus Reverso. It's a little bit of a flip here, with Denk actually using his hypercharge and ensuring that he keeps Poco back, but also make sure that he doesn't die too often. But he's going to be taken out here surely by Linny, and as he does, Jungle getting the kill on a Belux is going to be huge. Now there's a hypercharge by Foxy, places it down, and that is going to be the end of Tizu, which is horrible position for him to be in here right now. It's a 58-44 scoreline, and I gotta say, I'm eating my words. The way that Snow Crystal are playing is really good. Like I said, it's a slower composition for Snow Crystal because they gotta wait for the Nita to get super, and once she gets super, it's going to be very difficult to take it out because she gets so much more value just because of all that position control. Now hypercharge being used by Belux doesn't find the kill that he's looking for. Denk gets a kill onto the Poco. Hypercharge by Linane, he's trying to get the kill on Denk. It's not going to matter. It is Snow Crystal now on match point against Reverso. Wow. Anyway, we're going to go into possibly our last game between Snow Crystal and Reverso Gaming. Linane being very aggressive here. It's now or never for them, really. And places down in super in the mid. But Jungle actually managing to keep Belux low. I keep saying Belux for some reason. Belux low. Because it's Tizu, I guess. I don't know. Jungle once more. Getting taken out by Belux, which is unfortunate. Big kill from Tizu on Foxy. Now Denk is all the way back. And this might be what Reverso need. Linane using a super here. Gets the kill. Very, very close to dying here. Oh, Denk finds the kill on Tizu, which is not at all what they need right now. That lead, which was 20%, is slowly but surely whittling down. And the prospect for Reverso is not as good. Hypercharge being popped by Foxy. The bear comes in, but gets dispatched. And now there's a lead, in fact, for Snow Crystal. Hypercharge by Jungle. He should be trying to find Belux. Can he find the kill, though? That's the question. And he is! With just 9 HP to his name, Jungle still alive, but finally picked off by Tizu. Tizu as well with a super. Keeping Denk low, finds a kill on a Denk. I'm not sure why Denk was so uncharacteristically aggressive in that interaction. Staying alive would have been much more beneficial for the team. Now Jungle getting the super off on a Belux and making sure that Belux is not anywhere close to the point here. And it's just looking like it's falling apart for Reverso. They had such a good start this time around, and it looks like Reverso Hive EU is going to be taking the L here and are out of the tournament. Snow Crystal will be winning this one and progressing to the next round in the lower bracket final, waiting for the loser of Foot Esports versus SK Gaming. That was surprising. I didn't expect Snow Crystal to win that last set there. I really felt like Reverso Hive had it, especially with the fact that they drafted Poco into the Finks. I felt like it would have definitely gone their way, but it just seemed like Reverso didn't play it as well as they ought to have. So unfortunate for them, but that means that Snow Crystal is going to get the dub. And mind you that they got 3 straight wins, 3 straight sets on the trot in order to do that. So the first set was won by Reverso, but Snow Crystal took the next 3. So congratulations to Snow Crystal for that. We're going to have our upper bracket finals, which is going to be Foot Esports versus SK Gaming next, but we will take a short break of about 2 minutes before we come back and resume the broadcast for you. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Big Pro Series Road to Assembly. This is the first tournament in the series here, and we are on the upper bracket finals today. Yesterday, we had the qualifiers, and we had 22 teams participating. We needed to find the top 4 teams, and the way we did that is through a single elimination tournament. And these top 4 teams today are facing off in a double elimination bracket, and we'll show you the bracket hopefully right now. And in the bracket, you'll see that in the first game, we had Foot Esports win 3-0 against Reverso EU. And then in the second game, we had Snow Crystal get beaten by SK in a 0-3 scoreline. Then we just saw the previous match, which was Reverso Hive EU beat Snow Crystal. Sorry, get beaten by Snow Crystal in a 3-1 scoreline. So now we are in the upper bracket final between Foot Esports and SK Gaming. But that I hit a wrong button and then my whole camera feed kind of went away. So I apologize for that. But we're just waiting for the teams to get in. I do want to see the brackets, so it would be nice if we could see the brackets. That would be a great thing. So if production could do that, that would be great. Yeah, like I said, first up we had Foot versus Reverso, where Foot Esports won in a 3-0 scoreline. Then Snow Crystal versus SK Gaming, where SK Gaming won it in a 3-0 scoreline. Now, both the losers of those matches, Reverso and Snow Crystal, faced off in the lower bracket semifinals, which we had just before, where they won. And now we're going to have Foot Esports versus SK Gaming. So the loser of this is going to be facing Snow Crystal in the lower bracket. But we are heading into our draft. Sneaky Fields is going to be the first map. And we have Shooting Star next, Hot Potato after that, Out in the Open, and Dueling Beetles only if required. And here our bands are going to be Crow, Ems, Leon, Rico, Ruffs, and the Mo. First pick from SK is the Spike, Mr. Spiky Boy. Get some tea for your voice? I should. Otis coming out for Foot Esports. It's a very safe pick. It doesn't really showcase what you want to do, but it showcases what you want to stop, right? It is Sneaky Fields, and we're going to have Chester coming out, so we might see some Chester maxing. And Chester's hypercharge is basically one of the biggest reasons why you want to take it, right? And also the wall breaks that you get. So you get the wall break, you get the stun as well with the super. It really depends the RNG of the pop rocks, right? Not the pop rocks, the super that it gets. So you got to see what happens with that. Bull coming out for SK Gaming. And we're going to see a lot more Bull in the meta. But what I don't see from SK Gaming is a little bit of sustain. But I don't really expect you to have that much of sustain here, all things considered. Rico is still open, and both teams could opt for the Rico. They go for the max instead. So you got the speed, you got a big opposition in the form of Spike as well. So these are things that you gotta keep your eye on. The last pick from Foot Esports is still there. They don't have any wall break, which is a concern of mine. Except, wait, never mind. The Chester is the wall break, but it's like it's a little bit of an RNG wall break, right? It's not a guaranteed one. So that's something to think about. But the same could be really realistically said about Bull Super either, because you got to actually earn your Bull Super. So I don't know what I'm saying, but the Shelly's coming out, and Shelly is to address a lot of the aggression which could come in the form of Bull raging in with the super and obviously the speed of Max. And the max speed is also great, but the max hypercharge is even better. And I like the composition from SK Gaming, Foot Esports as well. I want to see how this one does play out. We're going to go in a game number 1 between Foot and SK Gaming on this Sneaky Fields map. We are in the upper bracket finals of the Big Pro Series Road to Assembly 1. In the mid, A little bit more control inside of foot, but that gets obviated. Ooh, big kill from Noe on a knob, and Angel Boy is also going to be low. That's allowing Yoshi to root himself on the grass here, but Gessie's gonna go in. Oh, Gessie taking no prisoners. Yoshi falls by the wayside. That's the first person to fall. In a very aggressive position. Kill on open. This should surely be goal. Gessie gets the ball. 92 HP. It doesn't matter. They are able to get that goal. Now big speed is going to be coming in from SKA. Ope going in. He gets stunned off on the Angel Boy. Has another super that he could use, but Gessie. Oh, Gessie is going to be clearing the ball, but the ball is going to be broken through by Ope. He gets the ball back from Gessie, and now a very good spot to be in if you're SK Gaming. Big super coming in from the spike, but the kill has been confirmed from Ope. Now Gessie going in. He's trying to find his own here. Yoshi's still very much with his hypercharge. He decides not to use it, goes for Knob and gets the kill over there. Ope trying to go mano against Gessie, but Gessie got his number right now. Yoshi up against Angel Boy, not gonna get the better of him as Angel Boy gestures right through him. Hypercharge is available. No, he uses it. Ope going in, misses the stun, gets taken out by Gessie. He doesn't actually miss the stun. Gessie just is insane. He's him. He has the reaction time of a god. That is crazy. Angel Boy has a hypercharge, could use it, deciding not to go for it just yet. Should be able to get the kill on Ope. Finally does. Now Gessie with a super. I mean, the gadget tries to scare off Noe, but the kill onto Knob is going to make sure that Foot can't be as aggressive as they want. On the other side, though, SK Gaming, we have Ope going in with a super. He finds a kill on Angel Boy, but Gessie's right there to make sure that he can't do much more than that. Hypercharge being used by Yoshi. Gessie gets the kill on Ope, but gets taken out with the double value from the hypercharge super. Another hypercharge super coming down. Angel Boy has to hold the line. He might go down. He does go down, but not nearly soon enough for SK's likely. Hypercharge by Ope finds the kill on Gessie. He finds a kill on a Knob as well. He has a super. He could go for it. Hypercharge by Angel Boy gets kill on Ope. Noe with a phase shifter. He gets the goal, and that is going to be an equalizer with only 5 seconds to spare. Wow. Just goosebumps right now. Hypercharge speed from Noe. Yoshi pushing the super down, keeping Gessie at bay, and that is the mark that they need to be doing right there. Ope could go for the ball here. He tries to go for Angel Boy, not going to be able to do so. It's falling apart for SK. They get completely taken down. Foot Esports with the goal, with the game, and that is going to be them on game point against Foot Esports, against SK Gaming. So very well played in the first game here. We're going to go into the second game very, very soon. Lots of back and forth. I gotta say, Gessie has been impeccable with his positioning and his control here. He's been a man about. We're gonna go into game number 2. Once more, Gessie on the offensive. The onslaught on Ope. He's not able to survive, unfortunately. Gessie once more, not done. He gets a kill on a Yoshi. Does get a wall break, but I don't think they really care about it in that position right now. Ope going in on a Knob. Doesn't get the kill there, which is super unfortunate. Angel Boy a little bit premature with the super, but manages to get the poison off with Noe getting dispatched as well. Now, Gessie has a wall break. He decides to break the wall. They have nowhere to play the SK plot. They can't use the SK strategy, but to use the SK strategy, you need to be a goal up, and they don't have a goal. They don't have a wall either, which is a very unfortunate proposition. Angel Boy on the right-hand side. Ope as well being pushed back very low. Gessie managing to dodge a lot of the shots, and this might be what they are looking for. Angel Boy, oh, he's able to clear the ball. He's able to push it all the way back. That could have been a goal-scoring opportunity if I've ever seen one for SK. Obviated by Angel Boy. Now hypercharge is there from Gessie. He misses his super, which is unfortunate, but he's not done. He gets the kill despite that win. Now Ope has a super of his own. Hypercharge as well. He could go on a Knob. He goes on a Knob. Knob is able to get the kill there, which is very unfortunate timing for the side of SK Gaming. With Foot Esports already claiming a goal, they've used the SK strat, coordinating the ball of their own. Hypercharge is with Gessie. He doesn't have a super just yet. There is also a purple button for Angel Boy and Knob. Lots of purple buttons coming down. Super for Ope. He gets muted out by Knob over there at the same time. Another super coming in. Angel Boy gets off his heels right at the nick of time. Somehow, a monumental defensive play coming out from Foot Esports to make sure that SK Gaming can operate on their advantages. 40 seconds left. A kill on a Noe. And this is playing according to exactly what SK Gaming, Foot Esports want right now. Ope slashing the super, but buddy, there isn't much you can really do against Gessie in this situation. I am gonna eat my word. I'm eating my words as I'm saying. He broke the wall. He get the kill on a Gessie. He's trying. Why did he pass the ball to his own teammate? He should have passed the ball. He should have passed the ball to Yoshi. He should have passed the ball to Yoshi. That is going to be Foot Esports able to mount an insane defensive play to get that first set against Foot Esports, against SK Game. Oh my god, what a set. What a set. I can't believe I saw that. That was crazy. Oh my god. That was... Whew. Wow, the synergy from Foot is crazy. I gotta say, SK are such a good team that even the smallest of the smallest micro misplays are what is causing them to fail, and that is what Foot is abusing. Foot is abusing those small mistakes that SK Gaming is making. But at the same time, when Foot Esports makes those mistakes, we saw Gessie miss completely whiff a super. He still got the kill on the spike. He still got a kill on the spike. I mean, I'm just at a loss for words. This is crazy. I might be glazing a little bit, but that was beautiful set to watch. Next up is gonna be Shooting Star. Man, I can't wait to see more Foot Esports games. Dude, that was... I feel like I am lucky that I live in this moment, that I get to live in Foot Esports world in this year. I might be glazing. I don't care though, because that was crazy. That was insane. I love SK Gaming as well, but that was crazy. I want to see what is going to happen in Shooting Star. That was phenomenal, honestly. I want to see that set again. I want to watch it after the stream because it was that good. Next is Shooting Star, though. And I can't talk anymore right now because my voice is a little bit hoarse. So I need to drink some water. Chat said that I can't be glazing if they're the best, and you know, maybe chat's right. We got SK Gaming going for the Nani as the first pick on Shooting Star. Good for fundamentals, but Nani has fallen off a little bit in the recent past. We still see it being brought out because, you know, it doesn't really reveal your strategy on a map such as Shooting Star. The bans are going to be Gene, along with Leon and Angelo, Glowy, Mina, and Mortis. So Foot Esports opting for the RT along with the J Young. That means they get the speed, they get the ability to mark people down, they get the healing as well. So they have all of those parts covered. On the other side, likely going to see something like a Gus coming out from SK Gaming, but SK Gaming has to be very, very careful because Foot Esports have that last pick, that coveted last pick. And I think that understanding that the last pick was going to be an option and an issue, they decided to ban out the Mina earlier on. So Gus coming out, not really surprising, but there is the Carl. I feel like the only reason you could run Carl here is for two reasons. One is to get the blue star, and the fact that you are running Jay Young, which means that you need to heal up your teammates or give the teammates the speed in order to get in and out of position. So that could be a thing where you walk in together into a Carl shot, but I still feel like Carl, other than the blue star, is going to be outclassed a lot. It's going to be missing out on the range department across all three of the brawlers on Foot Esports side. So I like this composition a lot more from Foot Esports. They have a lot more range. They have a lot more sustain. They have anti-heal as well. The only thing that SK Gaming have going for them here is that they do have the Carl, and with the Gus, the possibilities are there that they could get something going. But obviously the RT is a big answer to the Carl pick. So I feel like Foot Esports have all of their bases covered. We're going to go into set number 2 between Foot Esports and SK Gaming. Foot Esports already took the first set in a very dominant display, but it was a very close set as well. So I want to see how this one plays out as we go into set number 2 on Shooting Star. Shooting Star being claimed by SK, and you know, with the flying hook, that isn't anything that should be surprising, but already SK are moving back. I mean, moving back is not a bad decision, but Angel Boy, he caught Yoshi napping. Yoshi just put out his pinky, his little toe, and Angel Boy was there to just capitalize with a capital C. Oh my god. Nob getting hammered, but the heals are online by Guesty. And now Angel Boy also taking a little bit too much damage, but this is a 1-star lead for Foot Esports. It's still possible for SK to come back. Lots of heals from Nob, and now Angel Boy in a very difficult position, and he does. Ope managed to bait out that super from Angel Boy, and now Nob knows that he has to go in the offensive. Angel Boy still going in very aggressively. Doesn't have his. Oh, he does get his gadget off. He gets his. How did he get his gadget off? That man is insane. There's another kill from Guesty on Inoue. Angel Boy gets marked, and I mean, he gets found out by the peep, but nothing more than that really happening because the rest of the team of SK were down in that moment. It is a 5-star lead for Foot Esports with 45 seconds to spare. It's a very difficult game, but it's possible, right? They have to get a kill on an Angel Boy here if they want to make something happen, and they're trying. Angel Boy goes down. That's huge, but at the same time, Guesty gets another kill. Yoshi goes down. A complete team wipe. The synergistic abilities are crazy, but the way that we're seeing Guesty and Nob operate is absolutely bonkers. Another super being used. Guesty is a little bit low, but not going to be taken out here. He gets a kill on Inoue. This man is crazy. He got a kill on Inoue as well. 4-star lead, a hypercharge being used by Angel Boy. He's very low. He might get taken out. And he does finally fall. 1 second left, but that is just a consolation kill as game number 1 goes the way of Foot Esports. Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't believe what I'm seeing today. It is absolutely crazy. Both teams not relenting. Both teams know that they have the caliber to be the champion. SK Gaming has been on the top of EU year in, year out. Many times we see them as the undisputed champions of Europe. They are facing against they're facing off against Foot Esports, and they supposedly have the best player of all time right now in the form of Guesty. But maybe SK have something where they can come back here. They do have the blue star. Now super going in, and they find the kill on a Nob, and this is exactly what SK need right now. They're on the back foot a little bit here. They do have the lead though. A lot of control being won slowly but surely by Foot Esports. Ope dancing around the wall, but Nob pushing him in a very awkward position. Nob's job right in here is to keep Ope back and allow Guesty and Angel Boy to be very aggressive on the right hand side. Nob is on a mission himself. There's gonna be a flying hook being used by Ope. Ope is not done, but Ope might just be taken out here. No, Nob is still very much alive. There is some heals and a lot of speed coming out. Now Guesty was almost found out, but it's not gonna be the case. Lots of heals coming down, and this is gonna be a very unfortunate for SK Gaming, but 40 seconds left. The mark from the peep found onto Nob, and doesn't get the kill as is expected most of the time here. You want to use that peep to get the knockback, to push the opposing team into your team so that you can get those kills in. So it hasn't been working out as well for them. This is a lead for Foot Esports. A 1-star lead is all that separates these two teams. And right now, we're waiting for SK Gaming to make their offensive. But Guesty understanding that is making sure that Ope can't get what he's looking for. Ope is going to be marked up a lot. Lots of heals coming down. The double heal is very crazy. Hypercharge from Guesty. Ope gets taken down, and that is game and set. Foot Esports up 2-0 against SK Gaming. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is crazy. The first game was very contended. The second game was a lot more clean from the side of Foot Esports. But now Foot Esports are up 2-0 against SK Gaming. Yes, Foot Esports were the monthly finals champions, but SK Gaming have a lot going for them. They have a previous world champion. They have Yoshi and Ope, who've been to many world finals. But on the other side, we have Angel Boy, we have Nob, and this one guy called Guesty who's never been to world finals, and they're just completely running circles around SK Gaming. I know I'm just being a little bit dramatic, but I'm kind of enjoying myself. So you can't follow me for being dramatic. It's fun, okay? I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying the gameplay that we're seeing, at least, you know. Anyway, the next set is gonna be Hot Potato, And we haven't seen a hot potato in a hot minute. And I want to see how this one plays out because there are lots of different ideas that you can go for, different pyramids, myriad of strategies that you could employ on a map such as this. There are those unbreakable walls on the side lanes. You have the breakable walls in the middle, the grass as well, which makes it easier for you to be a little sneaky boy. And we have our bans here: Shade, Kaze, Lily, Spike, Ems, and Crow. The first pick from Foot Esports gonna be the Ruffs. Hello, Ruffs. Who's a good boy? And SK Gaming have to respond. I like this Ruffs pick because you can break up the map. You can give the treats to your teammates. You have a lot of damage burst, which you can do as well. But more importantly, it's about holding that line. You want to be able to hold your lane, and you want to be able to clear up the grass in the mid or break open the lanes, right? So you want to make sure that you neutralize a lot of the thrower options which could be brought out in this map. And there are a lot which you can bring here. You can bring out Willow, you can bring out Barley as well. So those are different things that you go for. Chuck could be brought out, but I don't expect it to be really brought out on this map in particular. But if it is brought out, expect a base race sort of situation happening. Now, SK Gaming gonna go for the Otis, and they complement that with a Carl. Now, Carl with the heat ejector gadget, I believe, the one which creates fire, will allow you to scout out the middle a little bit more. It also gets a little bit more damage on the objective. It's going to be very hard to walk through the mid, but that's exactly why you have the dog in Foot Esports, to break open the map and make it easier to really move in open spaces. Melody is still very much open despite the Kaze being banned out, so that is an option. But another thing to think about and to be cognizant of if you're Foot Esports is that the Otis is on the other side, right? So if you're trying to go for a dive brawler, then the Otis might be a big problem because there's going to be a lot of distance between you and the safe and the Otis and you. So you're going to be walking into the Otis, probably giving it super, right? But we have the Cordelius coming out from Foot Esports. That just gives a little bit more surety in case SK Gaming decide to go for, say, suppose a Chuck, for example, or even a Melody, for example. And Foot Esports opting for the Bull. Classic pick for this specific mode. Not surprised to see it being brought out from Foot Esports. SK Gaming bringing out the Nita. Now, they really prefer the Carl. I don't know if I 100% agree with the Carl pick, but see the composition that Foot Esports is facing. Breaking walls is not going to be the best for them. It's going to be the exact opposite of the best. So expect maybe the star power, which allows Ruff to give passive healing to his teammates. That could be a possibility. We're going to go into game number 1 off this third set between Foot Esports and SK Gaming. And Foot Esports have won 2 straight sets in a very dominant display, but not a unanimous a win by any means. It's been very back and forth. Yo, thanks for becoming channel members, and remember to subscribe and follow if you haven't already. Yo, big kill from Ope on Angel Boy, and that is going to be dictating a little bit of the pace of the game here. Lots more control being exercised by SK in the mid. And that is something which will give pause to Foot Esports a little bit. Angel Boy gonna charge his super with Ope on the left-hand side. He does get his super off, so he jumps into the point of Ope, but probably not the best position to jump in on because he jumps in on the side where Ope has easy walls. I mean, all of the sides have easy walls, so Ope's gonna get a lot of value there, but Nob gonna go up against Bruce and says uncle there and gets taken out. Unfortunate for them. So lots of stuff that have happened in the last minute or so, but nothing which really changes the overall outcome, as neither team has put out any damage on the objective. Now finally we do see a little bit of damage on both sides coming down, and it's a pretty even game. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit more on the side of Foot Esports as Nob gets a little bit more value, 9% in fact, and a kill from Angel Boy on Inoi, but there is a trade on the other side as well. When you see these great teams going up against each other, you shouldn't be surprised if the scoreline is the difference of just a percentage. It comes down to those micro plays and those micro interactions. Now Angel Boy popping his hypercharge, goes in on it. He gets the kill here, but unfortunately pops up to his doom as Yoshi is able to get 1 kill. He also has a hypercharge, so That's something that's going to immediately neutralize Knob. It is a 1% lead, though, for Foot Esports here as SK Gaming safe and have not been able to pop the safe. Now, Hypercharge coming in, but Knob trying to go in. He's trying to find the kill, and Inouye not able to do so. Fury Bruce, Hyper Bruce, is still very much alive. 649 HP to his name, but is going to be going down almost certainly. And some damage being brought onto the opposing save from Foot Esports. Now a super from Knob. Can he get the kill on Inouye? He's trying. He's not able to do so. Big super from Inouye on the objective. On the other side, there is a little bit more damage. Here coming in. A pop from the shield on either side. Agent Boy trying to get a little bit more damage. 1%. I called it. 1% is going to be the difference between the giants of EMEA right now. But Esports is on match point against SK Gaming. A win here will put them in the grand finals, and a win here will make sure that SK Gaming have the long and arduous task of navigating the lower bracket to make it up against Foot Esports. So this is not the best proposition, but SK Gaming in their past have faced the barrel of a gun. They've been in a situation where they're facing off against a match point against a team which has beaten them in the past, but they've also beaten Foot Esports in their own right. Here we're going to go into game number 2. Agent Boy getting some damage on the objective, and big super from Ope. He gets 1, he gets 2, he gets all 3 down. He's gonna be pretty low here, so has to regen a little bit. But that was a good way for SK Gaming to win back control of this mid, and that is exactly what the doctor ordered in this situation. Now Knob going up against Inouye on the right hand side. Hypercharge being used by Ope. Jump from Agent Boy. He manages to get the kill onto. How did he get the kill? That is crazy on the Carl that time. Again, it is a very, very close game. A little bit more of a lead, in fact, for Foot Esports. Now they're still up by 1% here, and it's just going to be a little bit more damage coming in. I feel like Angel Boy probably could have stayed alive there, but decided not to go for that here. Hypercharge super by Gessie. He decides to use it on himself here. And Knob just going on a mission there. He gets 1, he gets 2, but now Ope has to defend by himself. But the shield has already been popped, and this is a big lead. A 25% lead against a team that you just lost by 1% to is a little bit difficult of an ass to come back from. Big super from Yoshi gets a kill on an Angel Boy, and now Knob gets dispatched too. A lot of control from SK. They also have a lot of HP to their name, so this could be what they need to mount a counter-offensive. Big Hypercharge being used by Ope. He should be able to get on the objective, gets a little bit of damage, gets the fire damage off as well. Can they pop the save? No, he misses this last one. Goes for Gessie instead of the save, but it doesn't matter because right now it is actually a lead for SK Gaming. They get some more damage on the objective. No, he's still alive despite that. 174 HP to his name. Dispatch of Yoshi, but the trade from Ope on a Gessie, and now Angel Boy on the offensive tries to get the kill on Ope. Can he find it? He does. It is a 20% game here, definitely favoring the side of SK Gaming, but look at the momentum. There are 16 seconds left. All that Foot Esports needs to do is just pop the safe once, and that is exactly what they're going to be trying to do right now. Hypercharge coming in. They're able to pop the safe. They have the lead. 6 seconds left. It is over. That's all she wrote, as Foot Esports are going to be able to take the dub and put SK down in the lower bracket. Not only is it a win against SK Gaming, it is a 3-0 scoreline in the set score between Foot Esports and SK Gaming. I gotta say, this was unprecedented. I felt like it was going to be much closer. Yes, it was a close series of sets, but I thought it was going to go all the way to set number 5. But Foot Esports taking no prisoners. This is why they are the winners of the EU monthly finals in March. Sorry, not March, it's February. I mean, I'm probably already calling it a little too early right now. I'm going to get some hate for that, pretty sure. But anyway, Foot Esports taking the dub against SK Gaming. Now we're going to have the lower bracket finals, which is going to be, I believe, between Snow Crystal and SK Gaming. Foot Esports moving on to the finals, as we mentioned. But before we get back to the lower bracket finals between SK and Snow Crystal, we're going to take a break of about 2 minutes because I need a break or I'm going to die. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Pro Series, the road to Assembly #1, and it is promising to be a pretty exciting one. I mean, we had firecrackers of some matches that we did see, and just look at the bracket. It's going to give you a little bit more context about what we had. First up, we have Foot versus Reverso, where Foot won. Then we had Snow Crystal versus SK Gaming, where SK won. Then Reverso versus Snow Crystal, where Snow Crystal won. Foot Esports versus SK Gaming, which was a 3-0 scoreline for Foot Esports, and now SK Gaming have their reprisal against Snow Crystal. So I want to see if SK Gaming can win this to get their possibility of revenge, or if Snow Crystal are going to be getting their own piece of the revenge pie and serve serve SK Gaming their humble pie. Sorry. I was thinking humble for some reason. But anyway, right now we have SK Gaming versus Snow Crystal. And the maps that we are going to be having are Hideout, Safe Zone, and Gold Arm Gulch. Oh, that was exciting. What do you think, chat? Are you having fun watching some of this esports competitive? Because I surely am. And I'm looking forward to seeing what these teams decide to draft here. The first map is going to be Hideout. The second map is going to be Safe Zone. The third map is going to be Gold Arm Gulch, followed by Ring of Fire and Hard Rock Mine if we require it. It is a best of 5, best of 3. Just waiting for the teams to get into lobby and whatnot. But this is definitely a devastating loss for SK Gaming because they lost it in quite a large chasm of points here. But if anything, we know that SK Gaming has faced these type of losses before, and they have the mentality to regain, recoup, and re-execute what they want. So it's not something that they haven't faced before, and having the experience that they've had with the star-studded roster of people who've been to multiple world finals and multiple world grand finals as well. Uh, is that right? I'm not sure. But yes, in separate situations. No, SK's never been in the grand. Anyway, what I mean to say is that SK definitely have the experience to come back from these type of setbacks, right? They're going to go up against Snow Crystal, who's definitely on a high after winning their matches. And if you need to know who's in Snow Crystal, we have Foxy, Jungle, and Denk. And if you think that they're a walkover team, well, if you haven't been here for the rest of the stream, they beat Reverso Hive EU in the lower bracket here, which is comprised of Belux, Linane, and Tizu. And I guess everybody knows Linane, right? So they were able to beat Linane there, so which is definitely something to think about as we go into this game here between SK Gaming and them. Though the overwhelming favorites in this one, if I have to, be honest, are definitely going to be SK Gaming. So I'm curious to see if Snow Crystal are up to the task to take down this massive behemoth, the Leviathan that is SK Gaming, or if SK Gaming are going to walk over them and finally find a way to get their revenge against Foot Esports, because unfortunately for them, they didn't get to the grand finals to face off against Foot Esports in the monthly finals last time around. They lost to CMM, which was a team which people didn't expect for them to lose again. So this is a little bit of a humble pie situation for SK Gaming, but I think that if any team can come back out of mental rut like this, it could be SK Gaming. I'm still though quite excited to see what Snow Crystal can bring to the table, because Foxy, Jungle, and Ink have shown what they can do against some pretty good teams. We are going to go into our first set on Hideout. The bans are going to be Glowy, Byron, Mortos, Gene, Leon, and Glowy. So double Glowy ban opens up one extra brawler to the pool that they can go for. And the first pick from SK Gaming is going to be the Spike pick. On Hideout, it is a pretty safe pick. I don't think that you could really go wrong with a Spike pick here, but let's see what Snow Crystal decide to respond with. We still have whole base brawlers like Gray, which is still open despite the Gene being banned out. That is a concern. Other things that you could think about is Maxes could be used as well. But Angela's coming out for Snow Crystal. I like this Angelo. Lobert is really good on this map. It makes sense, so it's banned out here. And we still have Gus, which is an available option, but Assassins are something that I would probably venture to guess would be an option for both of these teams. why is there no Totem or Humble or Team Heretics? What is this tournament? Really interesting draft so far. Crazy meta at the moment. So the reason Totem, Humble aren't and Team Heretics aren't playing is because they didn't sign up. There are other match days and there are other qualifier tournaments, and usually teams try to hedge their risks, so they participate in different qualifiers because they want to ensure that they get to the final stages, right? So why risk it? Even though you got to risk it to get the biscuit, you shouldn't risk it just for the sake of risking it. Bell coming out for Snow Crystal, I like it, and the Pierce on the side of SK Gaming. Bell, a lot of those traps, if you walk over them, you get found out, and more importantly, you get slowed down, which could give you a revenge kill, which is a very important thing in Bounty. Pierce as well as a very, very strong brawler. Lots of range, but what I see in SK Gaming is that they don't have any real sustain, and they rely specifically on their offensive power. Max gonna come out, and that's gonna give them a little bit more speed, I guess, and a lot more aggression. But the blue star could also be picked up by SK Gaming right now. Why are there two brackets after finals? The reason for that is since it's a double elimination bracket, each team has the ability to lose at least one game. So if you manage to get to the grand finals without losing, then it stands to reason that you should be allowed to lose at least once before you get back into the game, right? So that's why you have those extra things after the finals and the brackets. Anyway, Penny coming out for Snow Crystal as their last pick. I enjoy this any pick. I enjoy this Penny pick, but let's see how this plays out for these teams here as we go into our first set between SK Gaming and Snow Crystal. Blue Star claimed by Ope. He was patient to get out there. Tags up Foxy quite a lot as well. You know what? I haven't seen Ope play Max that much because of Joker playing Max for SK last year. So it's nice to see Ope back on Max, because I kind of forgot how good he was with the Max in the past. Only the blue star being claimed here, and that is with Ope. So they're just trying to, find some weaknesses in armor on both sides. Noe, though, has been pushed back all the way on the right-hand side. Speed on the left-hand side, and that's going to let Ope and Yoshi be aggressive, and they just have so much of control. Ooh, Ope, wow, those dodges crazy. He had marked up, but that kill was absolutely perfect. Beautiful movement, beautiful dodging. Another kill from Yoshi on jungle is going to be massive. Yoshi also has a lot of control as well. These shots from Penny aren't landing because you don't see Penny's turret at all. If they had a Penny turret, that would be much better, but they don't have that in their arsenal. Big shots off on Ope, and it's a little bit low. He uses hypercharge, but the taps from Yoshi are going to be there. It's kill on a jungle as well. 9-star lead for SK Gaming. Snow Crystal really out of their depth. Whoa! Wow, Dank with that hypercharge. Super. He just connected smart. That was one of the wildest curves I've ever seen. Yoshi not done with jungle as he puts him down once more. That's going to be SK Gaming taking the first one without even really breaking a sweat. Not gonna lie, it was looking very clean from SK Gaming, and this is just a reminder of the draft in case you were wondering. Anyway, we're gonna go into game numero dos. SK to the first one, and the blue star should be done by Ope. Oh my god! Despite the fact that Foxy put down the gadget, Ope still came out on top there. Pure shot from Angelo finds this mark on an Ope, but no kills just yet. Denk is still managing to dodge a lot of these spike shots, and he's going to be pushing back Noe, but whenever he overextends, we see Ope getting a lot of value by just finding him out and just following pursuit for that predation. You see the main swap now, Foxy on the right hand side. You see Ope swapping his focus between Foxy and Denk and jungle as well. He's very low, but managing to survive. There is a super for Foxy, and that turret is in a very, very aggro position. I know he's going to be a little low as a result, and this is going to make dodging a pain for SK Gaming. Ope having to use a phase shift or get out of the situation there, and you know, Foxy is going to be very close to getting the hyper as well now, but just because of that one turret, that turret provides so much of value. 30 seconds left in the clock. It is still just a one-star game. It's just only the blue star. Can we find a game here in comp this year where we just get a win without anybody actually getting a kill in bounty? Maybe this might be the year. Ope very low. Oh my god, he's so low. How is this man still alive? That is crazy. He's still alive. Noe finally getting taken down. Oh no, Noe. And that is going to be game for the side of Snow Crystal. Noe just a little bit cheeky, you know, putting his foot out, but immediately getting punished for it. That is going to be Snow Crystal equalizing the score, and we're going to go into game number 3. Wow. Ooh, boy. Ope with the blue star. This time they didn't want to go for the penny. I felt like maybe it was a little bit of a risk or something, but the lane swap actually proved to be quite useful for as Snow Crystal, as SK Gaming weren't able to contend as much because Foxy got his super quite early. So that lane swap was definitely required. Now Noe and Ope going to swap their own lanes, and maybe this might be better for the side of SK Gaming. Jungle still hasn't got the better of Yoshi in a lot of these long-range sniper battles on the left-hand side. The right-hand side, though, Ope going up very fast with his super. Not going for the commit, because obviously then he would be in an inopportune position against Denk there. Jungle finally getting the better of Yoshi on the left-hand side. And not pressuring Noe, but Ope understanding that he needs to win back control first. He moves up on the right-hand side, hypercharge being popped as well, and get a little bit more speed coming in. He has another super as well for his main now. The mark was there by Denk, but unfortunately, Ope managing to dodge and pop and weave out of that situation. Now, 36 seconds left, and Foxy finally has that super. And Noe could address it with that with a super of his own, but they're deciding not to really bother with it right now. 24 seconds left. And we saw this last time around, but it's a little bit better positioning from SK Gaming, as realistically, Snow Crystal have to be so overly aggressive to really get a win here. A kill has been confirmed on Denk, and Foxy might be the next to go down, as he does, as does Jungle, and that is the game set for SK Gaming. A very contentious game where the lead change didn't actually happen, except for the, I guess, the second game where SK lost in the last interaction, where Noe kind of was caught out in an awkward situation, right? But all in all, I gotta say, like, SK was in the driver's seat for the entirety of the set. Some notes I would probably give is, like, why was the Bell winning that well against the Spike? I feel like it should win against Spike, but not to the extent where Spike has to move all the way back to spawn. But I have to say that the communication from SK was really good, because they moved together as a unit, and whenever you saw Yoshi losing a little bit of control, you immediately saw Ope, you know, pushing up on the other side. So that pushes their opposition back and immediately alleviates a lot of the pressure on Yoshi's side so he could move up. So understanding those small little minute plays are very important. It doesn't matter if you use a super only on yourself or if you don't want to use a super for a kill, but getting control is such a massive benefit that, you know, those solo supers were very, very useful. So I gotta say, I like the way SK were moving around the map. So that was pretty dominant display in hideout. We're gonna go to safe zone next, which is gonna be the next map, and a lot of different ideas that you could put on the table. But I like what SK Gaming did. I don't like what they did in the second game, but you know, very clean for the most part. It was pretty clean for the most part. We go into our draft, and the first pick from Snow Crystal is going to be the Colt. We have our bands. They are Crow, Chuck, Angelo, Nita, Cordelius, and Otis. So Chuck being banned out means a lot of shenanigans out of this situation. Safe zone. Nita has been banned out for safe zone. I don't know if that's a good decision or not, though, because I have to play more competitive to know. But let's see what SK Gaming decide to pick up here. They go for the Penny, and along with the 8-bit, so a lot of control coming out with their composition. They could also get damage on the objective through the form of the Penny turret, along with the fact that, you know, it's hard to move down the mid if you're facing off against an 8-bit on the other side, especially since Penny's already been picked up from SK Gaming. So I like the composition here from SK. Snow Crystal could go for a bow or something to, even if we didn't have, this is mentioning the fact that even if we didn't have Buffy's, bow would be viable in this composition. But with the Buffy's, it's at least in my opinion. We're going to go into our first game in the second set between SK and Snow Crystal. Hey, you guys asked for a code. I told you. If you want the code, it's PAN. It's just PAN. Very, very easy. I don't have any QR codes, but I do have code PAN. So Ope getting fired up, and unfortunately he can't take the heat. Gets taken down. Foxy. It is still alive, but his teammate Jungle goes down by the wayside. The wall break is going to be on the right-hand side for Yoshi. So that makes it easier to mark down Foxy, as he's not going to have a clear line of sight. Now, Ope on the left-hand side, and I think he wants to set up on the left-hand side, in fact. And yeah, that's what they want. They want control. They don't care necessarily about getting as much damage. They already have the win condition in the sense that they have a 7% lead against their opposition. They are perfectly content to just hold. That is the objective. I mean, a lot of people don't like Jose Mourinho, but like parking the bus is a valid strategy, and SK likes to park the bus quite a lot, you know? So this is just another one of their strategies here. They get the team wipe, they have control, and they want to keep control of the mid 100% of the time. There is going to be nobody walking through the mid. It's going to be no man's land for SK Gaming. You know, we getting the kill in the jungle, and this is looking pretty comfortable for SK. They want to keep the back left wall, I mean the top left wall here. Foxy definitely frustrated with the proposition that he has to face here. So it's like everywhere you walk, it's like Minesweeper. Everywhere you see, there's a mine, and you got to be very, very careful. Look at him, like just trying to dodge itself is like a big hazard. Like he's not even able to get on the objective. Finally gets a kill. It's a consolation. Not even going for any damage on the safe. I think like they're done. They're done. 75% with 15 seconds. It's over. That is going to be game number 1 for SK Gaming. Very, very comfortable. They weren't even looking for out and out damage for the objective. As you can see with their composition, they were perfectly content just holding control of the mid, like a chokehold, asphyxiating Snow Crystal on that mid. Maybe Snow Crystal have understood something that can undo SK Gaming in this second game of the second set. But if they don't, then SK Gaming is going to go up 2-0 against their opponents. Gonna go to game number 2 of this second set. SK Gaming to the first set and the first game off the set in a very, very dominant display. Once more, we see the early wall break on the right-hand side just to give them a clear line of sight to the enemies. And the kill has been confirmed on the jungle. And oh, Yoshi just dipped his toe in the fire fuel and took a little bit of damage, but you know, not really enough to put a dent in the work for them. The jungle finding the kill, but there is a response almost immediately from SK and Yoshi in that kill there. But unfortunate for Yoshi, he gets taken out by Foxy. A big super gun from jungle, and he's gonna get one. He's able to get the second as well, and now he's gonna be trying to hold on to the mid. But Noe getting that super is gonna put a big chokehold on the mid for SK Gaming. And now it's gonna be much, much harder for Snow Crystal to come back here. Winning control on a situation like this is certainly difficult, but these mines in the mid give me a little bit of pause. And a kill. Oh, Noe. Oh, no, nothing. All of that utility, everything was just wasted from Snow Crystal. 33 seconds left on the clock. It's an 11% differential. Kill from Ope on a Foxy. And there's another one. And it's just SK Gaming. It's the SK Gaming show. I feel like if you're Snow Crystal, you have to think about the next set, because even if they get some damage in now, I don't think that's enough, right? Not at all. They might get one pop, but not going to get the second. That is the second set going the way of SK Gaming. And I mean, no real surprises here about the outcome. It's just that it wasn't as fast as I would expect it to be. Like, I feel like it was too safe a composition. I feel like they could have been a lot more aggressive with their composition, but they played it really well. And I have no notes because I feel like there weren't many mistakes. There was one, but that's like it's like splitting it hairs. I feel like the one where Yoshi accidentally walked into a fire fuel and got burned, but that's like the only misplay which I saw in the whole set. So it's not even something to really think about. Would Bell have saved them? I don't know, actually. I don't know what would have saved them. But we're going to go into Gold Arm Gulch right now. And if there is a momentum shifter off a game mode, it definitely is knockout. So Gold Arm Gulch, seeing it in competitive, not really surprising. We see it day in and day out. I feel like this is something that all the teams already know how to play around. But lots of grass on the side lanes. You have the walls in the mid, which basically ensure and like usher you in a specific ways where you're supposed to move around the map. A lot of pinching and a lot of ganks, which are important. Revenge kills are also a thing. Brawlers that I would probably see, but mostly banned out, I guess, would be Leon. I feel like Glowy also would be a pretty interesting pick here, very oppressive. So we're gonna go into our bans, and Leon, Bo, Brock, Squeak, Kit, and Glowy being banned out. So I mean, this is par for the course, honestly, for the map that we have. You could have pulls coming out because both sides do have pulls available. You could have a Gene or you could have a Gray, but the spike coming out for SK Gaming in response to the Angelo from Snow Crystal and a Gray. So we finally get the pull for SK Gaming. Is Snow Crystal going to respond with their own pull? That is something that I want to see. They do have Angelo, one of the best brawlers in Knockout for sure, especially with a Pierce gadget and the Hypercharge as well. Both amazing abilities. A tick in response. But a tick into the gray is certainly an option. I mean, I wouldn't personally want to take a thrower into something that can pull me through the walls. But that being said, if you're gray, getting in a position to pull the tick might be slightly harder, especially with the Angelo and the RT on either side. You know, Lily could be an option. I feel like if they want to be super aggressive about it, they could go for Lily, and that would be an interesting pick here. But they could also opt for their own thrower in the form of maybe a what is it called? A Sprout, maybe? Obviously, the tick is still good into the spike on the other side, but they go for the max. So max speed with the pull, obviously one of the best synergistic abilities in Brawl Stars. We saw that with the Max Gene way back in the past, along with, you know, a Shelly to count run at the composition. But in this case, you have the speed, you have the pull as well. You have the grounding ability, the insane amount of deplorable damage which Spike can do with a hypercharge. So I like it. But Snow Crystal, they have I feel like they have a really decent composition, honestly. We're gonna go into game number 1 of this third set. SK claimed the first 2. And Snow Crystal wants to get off the mark. Just look at the confidence with which SK Gaming moved across the map. I feel like Snow Crystal didn't even take that much of damage, and just because they were afraid of SK Gaming, they gave up and ceded control of the mid and even the grass. And grass control is so important in Gold Arm Gold. So this soft style of playing from Snow Crystal isn't what should be done. Now, they definitely don't know Noise right there. Pulls coming in super as well. Jungle goes down. Despite the tick head, they aren't able to get any kind of counterplay or counter-offensive or revenge kills by any means. So not the best start for Snow Crystal, and definitely not the best mid game. Now, the kill has been confirmed on a Denk, and the last one to fall is Foxy first round going to SK Gaming. And if they are able to close down the next one, they are one step closer to facing their rivals in the grand finals. Speed from Ope on a Yoshi. Cole coming in on a... Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Ope, oh my god, misjudged everything. They didn't see Denk, right? They pulled the tick and they walked right into Denk. But that advantage has been obviated. Big shots coming in. Oh, the kill has been confirmed. Jungle goes down. And what was a 3v2 is now a 2v1. SK Gaming, in improbable situations, able to hunker down. Big pull. Oh, a trick for that last one there. That's going to be SK on match point against their opposition, Snow Crystal. Snow Crystal, a lot of mistakes being made. Don't forget to edit the setup. I don't know what that means. We're gonna go into game number 2 of this third set. SK Gaming on match point. They won every single game so far. They push back Snow Crystal all the way to their spawn, and once again, like I keep mentioning this, but the confidence is lacking on the part of Snow Crystal, where they just give up so much of control for seemingly no reason, and now they've been pushed back. I feel like SK is one of those teams which can really play the objective very well, and it's just you can't afford to make these sort of mistakes if you're Snow Crystal. Ooh, big pull. Dank might go down. Lots of shots actually coming down from both Ope and Yoshi. And finally, Foxy might fall. He does. There was a mark on Ope, but Ope surviving despite everything. And the hypercharge Coral just giving him a little bit more survivability. It is match point. It is round point. It is all the points for SK Gaming. Nice pulls. Speed as well coming from Ope. Oh! Hypercharge. This is the last hurrah. This is the last breath, but it does not matter as SK Gaming take this round, set, match on point. And they are going to be winning against their opponent Snow Crystal, and that is going to confirm their berth at the grand finals. They will get to face off against Foot Esports and possibly get their revenge in the grand finals. But before we get there, we're going to take a break of about 3 minutes, and we'll be back with more Brawl Stars actions back then. Welcome back to some more Brawl Esports action. This is the grand finals of the Big Pro Series Road to Assembly Part 1. And looking at our bracket, we have Foot Esports versus SK Gaming being our grand finals. Now, the reason why you have an extra bracket is that both teams need to be given the opportunity to lose at least one game in a double elimination bracket. Now, Foot Esports have qualified from the upper bracket, whereas SK Gaming lost to Foot Esports in the semifinal and are going down and went down to the lower bracket. So basically, if SK Gaming win this best of 5 against Foot Esports, they have to win another best of 5 in order to get it to parity. It has to be fair for both sides, right? But if Foot Esports win this grand finals, then it's basically over. And I hope that gets you guys up to speed about how this is set up here. So Foot Esports versus SK Gaming is going to be the match of the hour and the match of the tournament. And we have Double Swoosh as the first map, Super Beach is the second, Layer Cake is the third, and then we have Bridge Too Far and Bell's Rock to round it out if the need arises here. Now, obviously, this wasn't the best matchup for the side of SK Gaming in the upper bracket finals. They lost to Foot Esports in a very, 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 very dominating display. Foot Esports won in a 3-0 scoreline against SK Gaming, which was unprecedented at that point in time. But now SK Gaming have dispatched Snow Crystal, who were their opposition, and have come back to, possibly making their stance against Foot Esports right now. So Double Swoosh being the first map is going to be Gem Grab, and that means you have a lot of grass and certain brawlers that are, played around in terms of the draft is whether we have Terra or not. And for that, you have to either consider grass burning or breaking, or you have to consider brawlers that have multi-target abilities in the sense that they pierce brawlers, right? So if you want to face off against a Terra, then you probably want to take an Ems. Maybe you want to draft the Sandy as well, or something that can address the Terra at least, right? We're going to go into our draft here, and we have the Ems, Sandy, and Terra being banned out all together. Ali, Crow, and Sandy also going to be banned out for SK Gaming and Foot Esports. So double Sandy ban opens up one more brawler. Otis going to be the first pick for Foot Esports. Now, Otis, you have the fast splatter, you have a lot of damage output, you have the mute ability, you have the stun with the hyper mute. So a lot of different things that you can bring to the table if you're the Otis here, but SK Gaming have to bring out their next two brawlers. I do see Poco open, and it could be an option, but drafting a Poco along with a aggressive tank, say for example a Bull, might not be the best, right? Because the Bull is going to be feeding the Otis, and I feel the Otis can dispatch it more often than not. But SK Gaming opting for the Chester, which we have seen kind of being in vogue in this region, and there are lots of reasons why, but more so I've seen it being brought out in Brawl Ball because of the hyper charge and also the fact that you can break walls, right? So it is interesting that Double Swoosh is going to be brought out. Obviously, Double Swoosh, what? Chester is going to be brought out, but their stun is a definite thing to think about. The heals that you can get with your super as well. On the other option that they pick up here is Gray. You have the teleport. You also have the ability to pull people all the way across the map with that specific teleport. And Foot Esports going for the Mortis, and I forgot about the Mortis so far, but I did think that Mortis wasn't one of the better picks for Foot Esports in a previous game where they faced Chester and I guess another tank, but seeing how Gessie played it, it just is just I feel like you have to ban out the Mortis, or you have to be very careful about how you're playing against this Mortis here. But I might just be glazing a little bit too much, and there is the spike coming out for Foot Esports as their last pick. Let's see what SK Gaming bring to the table to counter out this opposition. They have to face the Otis, which isn't going to get too much done into this composition. Maybe a little bit into, say, the Shelly a little bit, but not all that much. It's the Mortis certainly is going to have a difficult time against, say, the Shelly, because obviously you have both the Shelly and the Chester in either lane. So not free lanes by any means for Gessie. It's going to be a very hard game for Foot Esports to win. But let's see how they play this one as we go into our first set of this grand finals between SK Gaming and Foot Esports on Double Swoosh. Gessie's job right now is to go in, get one or two shots off, maybe get a kill, maybe or not. But he's not, interestingly, he's not using the teleport bat star power gadget. He's actually using the one which helps you get kills. So very interesting use over there. And the kill has been confirmed on Angel Boy. Now Gessie's going to be whacked to oblivion by Ope, and a lot of control by SK Gaming. Ope neutralizing Gessie on the left hand side. You don't want Gessie in your grass, and you don't want him with super. So Ooh, okay with another one. He gets 4 gems to his name. He's also able to be very aggressive against Angel Boy. He can pretty much go down here even now if he wants to and hand the gems over to Yoshi if required, but deciding not to do so. That being hit by Guesty on Yoshi, but Yoshi and Ope have coalesced and made sure that Ope and Yoshi have made sure that Guesty isn't as useful. The kill has also been confirmed there, but that allows Yoshi to pick up all the gems. So Ope, really good cognizant use of his abilities at that point in time. A kill has been confirmed on Ope, and now Guesty goes in. He's able to get 1 kill. Gems being picked up by Noe. A kill has been confirmed by Ace. He gets the gems. He's trying to get out of the situation. He does. The kill from Nob and Ope is crystal and clear, and all the gems here now being picked up by Foot Esports. 10 gems here. Ope has a super, and this is very important for SK Gaming to get some kind of counter offensive going. Guesty is down there, but they don't really know that, and unfortunate for Angel Boy, he might be taken out here. There is that reset that they need here, but another gem being picked up by Guesty. Guesty pops his hypercharge, gets found out. He finds it. How does this man keep finding? He's dead. He's been dead for 3 seconds. He finds a kill even after that because of the hypercharge. Crazy. Pull from Yoshi. 11 seconds left, and they need to get that kill there. Oh, Guesty gets juked by Yoshi. Now there might be a kill on a Nob. Nob trying his best to stay alive. Can they find a kill? And they aren't. Unfortunate for Noe. He didn't get the super that he wanted in that situation. And that game is going to go the way of Foot Esports. Are there rewards or not? Yes, your reward is watching Foot Esports and Guesty. We're going to game number 2. Foot Esports took the first one. SK Gaming almost had it, but unfortunately for them, Foot Esports had a lot to say about that matter. We're going to go into game number 2. Guesty getting dispatched by Noe, but this is something that they usually expect. Gems already being split, but Ope doesn't really care all that much if he has the gems because he's probably going to die in a situation where Yoshi gets those gems instead, so it's not that right now. He's going to be mostly played on defensive to keep Guesty at bay, so the threat of him dying is not that high, but, you know, Guesty does Guesty things. He's still doing Guesty things. He got the kill on Yoshi. He's taking the gems and he's run away with it. 6, 7 gems. Now the 8th one as well being picked up. Now, Guesty's not done. He's going in once more. He's trying to find one, but he can't find the other one. I feel like he might be cold here. If Yoshi had the gadget, it could have definitely made Guesty pay for all of that aggression. Now, Guesty is still alive. He almost used the super, but not gonna take the bait right there. 9 seconds left, and for 10 gems being picked up. Now the countdown has been there for Foot Esports. They're still very aggressive in an aggressive position. They don't want to necessarily make it difficult. Ooh, Guesty, what are you doing, buddy? He pulled the X9J, but it wasn't a throw this time around. It was a Mortis, and big hypercharge by Nob. He tries to find the kill on Yoshi. Yoshi teleports right on the cactus, and yes, he can go in for a kill, but he doesn't use it right there. Gets the hypercharge off. Now he can go on to Ope with his own hypercharge, but he's nowhere close to Nob or Angel Boy. The gems firmly and securely rested on the side of Foot Esports as they take this one and the first set in a pretty dominant display. I have to say, didn't expect Guesty to be as oppressive. I feel like, you know, Guesty is that guy where if you face him, you gotta ban that Mortis, bro, because it is crazy how well he's played the Mortis. He's like a different, like, we might be playing, like, you know, Brawl Stars. This guy's playing 40 chess with the way he's playing. I'm sorry, I'm just glazing Guesty at this point, but it's always gonna happen when you see plays like that, bro. It's crazy how he played that. There were lots of good points coming in from SK Gaming, and I liked how Ope was played. I feel like Ope was a very good answer to a lot of Guesty's aggression, but unfortunately, Guesty was like at all points of the map. He started on the right hand side, he went on the left hand side. The lane swaps were perfect, and Angel, the way Foot does their work is Guesty is like, Guesty, go smash, and then Guesty goes and smash, and he kills people, and then he pushes the entire team back, and then Angel Boy is like supplemental smash on the other side, and then like that happens, and then, you know, Nob is like, hey, I'm Nob, and this team is crazy. This team is crazy. This team is crazy. We're gonna go into Super Beach next, and want to see what is gonna happen here. Lots of wall breaks are possibilities. We might see bulls coming out. Obviously, if you see a bull coming out, then maybe you might have the Poco. Maybe the Glowy as well could be an option that you could go for. throwers as well as the last pick. That's usually the game that you play with the last pick. First pick for Foot Esports going to be the Leon, and the bands are going to be the Crow, the Shelly M's, Charlie, Shade, and the Spike. The response from SK Gaming to Foot Esports Leon is to draft Leon's sister, Nita. And we got Nita along with Max. So can the girls take out the boy? I think so. I think it's definitely possible. But let's see what Foot Esports decide to draft into this. Now, we do know that Bull is open. And that could be an option. But Bull into the Nita is classically not the best pick to go for. Mortis is also an option here, but it would be better in early game, but start suffering a lot more in late game once the Nita gets set up. So Foot Esports going for the Chester. Chester is super explosive, more so for a lot of the wall break options and the different abilities that you can bring here. But that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted, some more wall break. If you open up the map, right, and you look at the composition that Foot Esports have, they have a little bit more range than, say, SK Gaming. I feel like Nita is going to really struggle in this composition, especially once Ruffs breaks open the walls. And I feel like SK Gaming, I mean, they have to take something which could, ensure that Ruffs isn't that big of a problem, or the wall breaks aren't that big of a problem. They go for the Sandy instead. And obviously, if you do have the Ruffs, it de-incentivizes the last pick from being a thrower. But seeing the composition you're going up against, I don't think you want to pick a thrower into Ruffs along with the Leon and the Chester. So I like the Foot composition. I also understand the SK composition because with all the wall breaks, the Sandy Super is going to get a lot of value because you can't really move up in the mid anymore because of the Rude Sands, I think, at least. We're going to go into game number 1 of the second set between SK and Foot. Foot took the first one. SK needs to respond or they might be in a difficult situation. Now, Nob going up against Ope. Ope with the face shifter. Just make sure he doesn't take as much damage. Yoshi getting taken down by Angel Boy, which is actually a pretty big loss early on. They cede so much of control. Now, Super being used by Angel Boy. Can he find the mark? He's not able to find the angle. That's a little bit cheeky. B coming in, but so much of that. How? What? You had the speed from Max. Guess he broke the wall. He also got a kill. He's got the second kill. He just... Oh my god, this guy is crazy. Yoshi's gonna go down to Nob. Jesse breaks open the entire map here once more. Noe with nowhere to go. He's not between a rock and a hard place. He's between a foot and a foot. Like, there's nothing you can do. It's 2 left feet here for SK Gaming. But still though, no goal being claimed on either side. Now he has this big super being used. Oh my god, Guesty with Nob. We knew that was a potential play. That was the reason why you take Chester on this map and this mode, and the combined efforts together is exactly what they needed to do. Lost more wall breaks coming down, and this is going to make Nita absolutely neutralized and useless in this map. Now, Asian Boy going in here on this right-hand side, gets Ope and down low Yoshi with a Constellation Hyper Bear. He's trying to get something going, and he gets 1 kill on a Guesty. He also has a lot of control. There is another bear coming down. He might be able to get a goal here. Can he get a goal? No, Angel Boy's in. No, my god, it has completely fallen. Their dreams crashed. And that is going to be Foot Esports with a monumental defensive play. I can't believe Angel Boy managed to survive there. I saw that happening, but I didn't think it would actually come to fruition. Now Angel Boy with his invincibility going up against Noe, able to find one, not able to find the second one. The ball being cornered by Nob on the right-hand side. Now there is this kill by Yoshi, and like I said, it's a late-game composition, but Nob not really going to be breaking a sweat against the Nita Bear here. Now Ope trying to find some inroads, not going to be able to do so. Angel Boy with his hypercharge goes in, gets a lot of damage with his a Buffy, but still gets taken out despite that fact. Yoshi with his own purple button, pushing Nob back, gets the kill there. 4 seconds left. He says there's going to be a goal for SK Gaming. They're trying to fall here by Guesty, and that game is going to go the way of Foot Esports. Coast-to-coast gameplay between both these sides, neither team relenting till the dying seconds, and this is exactly why I love watching Brawl Stars Esports. We're gonna go into game number 2. but took the first one. And if they win this, they get the second set on the trot. Now, Gessie going up against Noe, but he wants to ensure that he doesn't overstay his welcome, and that's exactly what he does. He gets found out. The stun there is also going to be confirmed as the sweepings hits him. He gets taken out, but Angel Boy finding his own against Ope is also managing to keep Yoshi pretty low. Fast super kick being used by Nob, but unfortunately Angel Boy doesn't have the angle, nor does he have the right positioning to really get stuff done. Now the ball has been passed to Nob, but Nob gets the stun off on Ope. Angel Boy trying to get the kill. No, he doesn't. He manages to kick the ball to himself, and as a result, not getting that goal. A minute 40, monumental defensive plays coming in from SK, and it's like one defensive play after the other. It's just one thing after the other for SK, and they can't get a moment's rest. Now Gessie is going to be breaking more walls. I feel like Gessie is perfectly fine just holding ball control and opening up the map as much as possible to ensure that, you know, Nita at the later stages doesn't get as much value, because last time, despite the map being open, Nita got so much value. Now another super coming down from Yoshi. He's able to get this bear off and should be able to find out Nob, but no Nob dispatching Bruce, and that should be expected most of the time. It's like a shot for him. And another hypercharge being used by Gessie to break open the walls here once more, and Yoshi is going to be a thorn in the side for Gessie, but does get removed from the equation by Angel Boy. Now Angel Boy with a sneaky sneak, and can he get a kill on Noe? He does. He's going to be taken out, and a response from SK Gaming. 42 seconds. Foot has kept SK on their half of the map for the longest time. Hypercharge from Noe, and so much of Shroud in control coming in here. Hyper Bear from Yoshi gets one kill, not able to survive the second. The second survival might have actually given them a goal in that situation, though. Nob getting one kill, he has another one, deciding not to use this Hyper Super the second time around, because they probably want to hold on to making a wall break play. Now Gessie has a ball, and hypercharge from Ope. He has a lot of speed coming in. Noe as well going on the hunt on the Nob, but not able to get all of the things that he wants. Nob is also going to have a healing super, and Ope finds the kill. There are lots of kills coming down. Noe is not going to be able to get the ball. Gessie clears the ball. He's going to be taken out purely. And finally, it is going to go down. 49 seconds left on the clock. It is still anybody's game. Hypercharged by Yoshi. And the Bruce Bear is going to create a lot of area control for the side of SK Gaming. Gessie has the ball. How does Gessie have the ball? Oh no! Basic from Ope. He gets the ball, and it is going to be SK Gaming replying with only 34 seconds to spare. It is coast to coast. A reply coming in from SK Gaming. And it is sudden death. Oh my god. We don't know who's going to be winning set number 2, but it could be anybody's game right now. I'm just so hyped right now. I'm so happy. Yoshi going, oh, Yoshi gets taken out by Angel Boy. Angel Boy on a tear on a mission. He gets another kill on it. Ope. He gets the goal. Oh, no, oh my god, he's manual lawyer on that. That is crazy. Ball is still very much in a very difficult position for SK, but the clear is there by Ope. He passes the ball onto Nob. Nob is going to be not taken down. He does going very aggressively. Yoshi dispatching Angel Boy is going to be massive. Now Gessie, he's still on his own side quest. Like this guy, he just wants to break all the walls. Like that's his objective. I don't think he even wants to win against SK. He just wants to break all the walls right now. Wall break coming on the right hand side. Lots of shots. Noe going down, as is his teammate Ope. The last one alive is Yoshi. Can Yoshi survive? No, he's not going to be able to do so. Gessie gets the ball off on the Nob. Maybe they could go for something else, but they decide to hold off on that onslaught right there. Gessie gets taken down. I feel like there was an exit path for Gessie. Now Angel Boy going in with a sneak, but does not really get the value that he wanted in that situation. But I think he must be close to getting his hypercharge. About a minute 20 left on the clock. Now Noe has the ball. Push it on the right hand side to get a little bit more control. Yoshi also has a hypercharge. That is something to think about. Speed coming in from Ope on all three members. Noe almost dying almost immediately, and Yoshi going down is going to be huge. Nob with the hypercharge. He goes in for the wall break on the left-hand side. They aren't able to get the kill on Ope. They do finally get the kill. Angel Boy passes the ball to Gessie. Gessie can just walk it in. That was a little bit too much of an aura play for me, but they are able to get the goal here. I was a little bit scared. 50 seconds on the clock, and now SK Gaming have to launch a counter offensive. Yoshi tries with his purple button, not able to do so. Nob holds the line, and SK Gaming are in a very bad spot. 40 seconds left. Ope trying to find the kill in a Nob. He confirms it, but Angel Boy, a sneaky boy indeed. He's trying to go in on the right-hand side. Keeps Noe low, and that is going to stymie any offensive that we could possibly see for SK Gaming. But now, another Hyper Teacher coming in. Angel Boy trying to be cheeky with it. Ball here on the front hand side. Now Noe has to move the ball up to Ope, but his teammate Yoshi falls by the wayside. 15 seconds left. There might be a play though, with Ope having phase shifter, but he phase shifts into the unbreakable wall, and that is it. That is it for esports. They are going to be able to take this game, this set here, and they are up 2-0 in terms of the set score. Make sure you buy the foot bundle and the SK bundle, but use code PAN in the shop because yeah, I need the money. Thank you. I'm having so much fun, guys. I mean, like, this is not even casting for me. This is just like me having fun because the games are that good right now. I'm sure that you guys in chat are also enjoying yourself because that was beautiful. So many good plays. Guesty doing his side quests where he wants to break walls or something. And then like the way they were all completing together to get those kills. There were lots of mistakes being made by Foot Esports, but despite all the mistakes, SK Gaming weren't able to capitalize just because of how clean the gameplay is for Foot Esports. I want to see what happens in Layer Cake. The first two sets were very close. I mean, yes, Foot Esports is winning, but it's a very, very close affair. It's so close. I mean, it could be a toss-up, but I feel like it's a toss-up which favors Foot Esports a little bit more often than SK Gaming. That's just my opinion. I'm just a fan after all at the end of the day. I just want to see Foot Esports play all the time. I want to see, I'm sorry. It's like, it's poetry in motion, man. It's just beautiful to watch. It reminds me, if you guys watch football, right? It reminds me of Prime Arsenal in 2004 with Thierry Henry, right? It reminds me of Prime, not Real Madrid. No, I wouldn't say Real Madrid, but Tiki Taka of Barcelona. It also reminds me a little bit about like 2017 Man City. I'm sorry, I'm just talking about football, but it's crazy. Foot Esports up in a 2-0 scoreline against SK Gaming in the grand finals. If SK Gaming want to come back in this one, they have to win the next 3 sets, and they have to win another best of 5. That is 6 sets that they have to win against Foot Esports in a possibility of 8 sets. That is 6 out of 8. They have to win 6 out of 8 sets in order to beat Foot Esports. That is just going to be, it's not even 6 out of 8 actually. It's 6 out of 7, because if it becomes 6 out of 8, they've already lost. So they have to win 6 out of 7 sets in order to beat SK Gaming. It's 6-7. It's 6-7. It actually is 6-7. It actually is 6-7. Wow. Man knows ball respect. I like my football, bro. I like my football. Hey, Stabby Duck. I saw you. 6-7. Anyway, Layer Cake is up next. I like Layer Cake because you have a lot more aggressive compositions and some sneaky plays, right? And we've seen how good Angel Boy is with the Leon. He's been so good with his sneaks. He's able to get in right in the face, get those kills, and jump out. Guesty, no, it's Nob. Nob is he's so good at doing what he needs to do, which is just staying alive and being in the mid. And he talks, he communicates so well with his teammates that they just look like they've always played together. Anyway, we're gonna go into our 3rd set of this grand finals between SK Gaming and Foot Esports. The bands are in there: Lily, Mortis, Maple, Ems, Leon, and Crow. And the first pick, I don't even remember the first pick because things just started being picked really fast. Anyway, what we have on the board is the cat, the Gene, the dog, the Spike, the cactus. So I want to see what comes next, and it is the alligator on the side of SK Gaming. Now Mortis is not there. There isn't the Lily either, so we don't get as many of the shenanigans. A lot of the guesty brawlers are removed here from the situation. So let's see what Foot Esports decide to respond with is their last pick. They go for the Buster. Very interesting. I mean, you have to be cognizant of the fact that Squeak was available. Obviously, you don't want to necessarily go Squeak into an alley. And there is also the fact that you could have a lot of other dive brawlers or pull brawlers or whatever, right? You have Gene on one side, but you don't have like anything to pull on the other side. I like the SK Gaming composition a little bit more. You have the alley, which can get onto the blue star as well much faster. We're gonna go into set number 3 between SK Gaming and Foot Esports. Now, Foot Esports, have been on the front foot. They've won the last 5 sets against this SK Gaming side. Let's see if SK Gaming can win there first. They claim the blue star, but that is expected since Nui is running the alley. All of them can 1v1 the alley. That might be true, but it's not about 1v1ing, right? It's competitive. We have 3v3s, so it's about alley making those plays which would get the kill or would allow the teammates to get the kill in very, very aggressive situations and positions. Now, Angel Boy has a super. This could be a situation where they could make a play going, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. Noi finds one. He's able to find the second. Yoshi might go down, but Yoshi is still alive. Had he gone down, it still wouldn't be a lead for esports by any means because the blue star is with Noi still. Now, there is that gadget, which allows Noi to move a little bit faster, but you don't want to be feeding Angel Boy his hypercharge. Angel Boy doesn't get his hypercharge passively, still needs to hit. Nice! Oh, coming in from Opie Guesty is deleted. Now, Angel Boy is alive along with Nob. They're trying to hold this right-hand lane, but this composition from SK looks a lot better for me, at least. I feel like it is very difficult for esports to get something going in. Now that's what they're going to be trying to do, and a lot of jumps coming in. Ali's able to get one, not able to get the second. There's that pushback from Angel. Oh my god, Angel Boy's still not dead. He gets one kill, he gets taken out. That's going to give the lead to SK Gaming, obviously. I'm not sure if that was the best play, but 26 seconds. I think he wanted to get his hypercharge, actually. Maybe that was what he wanted, but hypercharge pop by Ope misses absolutely everybody. Angel Boy jumping out of harm's way because he gets caught out by Noi. 50 seconds on the clock. Hypercharged by Guesty. He misses his last super and double kill from Noi to cap it off. Oh, beautiful, absolute cinema. SK Gaming with their first game win here. And this might be the start, dare I say it, this might be the start of some kind of counteroffensive. We go to game number 2. SK Gaming won the first one. Let's see what happens in the second one. Angel Boy going in on a Noi, and finds him right off the water. He was like 1 pixel into the water. That was a little bit unfortunate for him. 1-star lead as well for the side of Foot Esports. Uh-oh, Noi caught out with that super. 3-star lead, and it just extends. It gets from bad to worse. But that being said, first game did go the way of SK Gaming, so they could get something going, but Noi in an awkward position there. Big pull from Guesty. Yoshi gets taken down. 5-star lead in a role reversal with Foot Esports taking control. Angel Boy in the back lanes here. Still no real breach of the wall from SK Gaming as Foot Esports really showcasing what they're made of. But 35 seconds, and this is, I feel like, in the wheelhouse of SK Gaming. This is what they kind of want here. Ooh, Guesty with the pull. That is massive. Now, Noi trying to get something on an Angel Boy. Not going to be able to do so, but the kill has been confirmed in a Knob on the other side. And a jump from the kit. Angel Boy onto Guesty. Just make sure that he's a little bit safer as we go in the last bit. Now, Noi has a gadget. Ope is trying to find his pull, but doesn't have the angle. Noi circling down the right-hand side, not able to do so. Kill on an Ope has been confirmed. Noi on the back line, but Guesty gets a kill onto Yoshi, and just like that, this is Foot Esports on match point against SK Gaming. Man, it is down to the wire. SK Gaming won their first game against Foot Esports in the set, but Foot Esports clapped back with a win of their own. It is now Foot Esports on match point. A win here will cement their position, and they will qualify for the next stage of this competition. A loss here for SK Gaming is going to put all of their hopes and dreams in the water. We're going to go into game number 3 here. Oh, Angel Boy going in. He's able to find one, but he gets closely dispatched. Ope almost found out there, but not going to be the case. Now, Noi very aggressively on this left-hand side here, but opting not to go in because he's afraid of Guesty pulling him out, right? If you get pulled out of the grass, you can hop away over the wall. So don't take undue risks. Ope has a pull. He goes in. He gets a kill on a knob along with the help of his teammate Noe. A minute 17 on the clock. And Foot Esports just waiting. They're just whittling down the clock. Not whittling down. They're just waiting out the clock a little bit. Hypercharge is well coming down. Noe might be caught out, but he's going for Knob instead, and he gets a kill on a Knob, but there is a kill from Guesty. There's a team wipe coming in for Foot Esports. They went into the household of SK Gaming and said, nah, fam, I'm taking it. I'm taking control of this. And that's exactly what they did. 47 seconds left in the clock. It is now SK Gaming's turn to formulate a response. If they don't get that reprisal, it is game over for them. Right hand side, we see the super from Guesty. Hypercharge coming in on the left hand side. Yoshi goes down. It's going to extend the lead even further. Knob not done with the onslaught. It is now up to Noe to get something going. Can the world champion come on top here? 22 seconds. He's going in. He jumps in. He's able to get one shot off. That keeps Guesty low, but not low enough. 7 stars is what they need. They need a kill onto both Angel Boy and Guesty. A team wipe would be the most ideal situation. But now with Angel Boy jumping on Guesty, it's going to be even harder. There is that pull though he could go for. A kill on a Knob is confirmed, but there are double kills, and that is over. That is all she wrote. It is done. It is dusted. But Esports take this one. They take this set, and they are the champions of this tournament. And they will be the first team qualifying to the next stage on this big pro series road to assembly. So I guess they are the first team to assemble. Oh my god, that was a heated game. My only problem with all of this is that I wish I had more best of fives. I wish I had more matches between Foot Esports and SK Gaming. I had a lot of fun, honestly, and I think that this was like a pleasure just to be able to witness this, let alone cast it. So thank you to both teams, Foot Esports and SK Gaming. Both teams look very, very strong going into monthly finals and whatnot. But congratulations to Foot Esports. I believe they get $1,200 for win, 1,200 euros for winning this. For second place, I believe SK Gaming gets 800 euros, and for third place, Snow Crystal gets 400 euros. So congratulations to all the teams for getting their winnings, and obviously to Foot Esports for qualifying to the next stage of this tournament. We still have future tournaments as well, and I guess I'll see you for those tournaments. And if you want to keep up to date with those tournaments, you can by joining my Discord or by joining my by following me on Twitter as well. So you could do that as well. So we've had a lot of good matches today. Congratulations to Foot Esports. Commiserations to SK Gaming. They were so close, but unfortunately it didn't work out. Thank you to the viewer for showing up, because without you, all of this wouldn't be possible. To the production team working in the back end, because you know, you guys get to see this wonderful production, but there are lots of people working in the back end. I'm just talking. I just do the easy stuff. I just come on the screen and I just say stuff, and you know, you guys have to listen. I mean, you don't have to listen. I go hard to mute, I've been told, so you could do that too. But thank you to everybody for showing up. I hope you guys enjoyed. I have a serious giveaway on Twitter, so make sure you follow me on Twitter and use code PAN in the Brawl Stars shop. Buy the Foot Bundle 100% if you haven't already. I'm sure Angel Boy would agree, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.